PJ.
Yan! Hello everyone! Welcome and good afternoon, good morning, and good evening wherever you are in the world. Ako po si PJ Lanot at ako po ang inyong host and speaker ngayong afternoon na to. At kung kayo po ay live na nanonood sa amin, pakisulat naman po sa comment section yung pangalan nyo. Of course, nandiyan na. Pero itong pinakamahalaga, kung saan kayo nanonood yan. Kasi I understand, we are live from all over the world and all over the Philippines. So please, let us know kung saan kayo galing para masya-shout out namin kayo ng live. Go! Sige po. Yan. And I would like to thank all of you for tuning in ngayong Friday na ito. At kamusta kayo sa inyong mga lockdown? Di ba? At happy design weekend sa inyong lahat. And I understand, marami tayong mga manonood dito ng mga estudyante, mga professionals, at yung iba talagang just generally interested in design. Okay po. So, again, if you're watching us live, let us know where you are from. At again, hanggang 5 p.m. po tayo today. Okay po. So again, ako po si PJ and I'll be here until 5 p.m. And we are very much live dito po sa Facebook Live via StreamYard at marami po tayong napakahusay na mga guests ngayong afternoon na ito. So, first things first, dapat po ay meron po kayong notebook at saka mga ballpen so you could write things down. Lalong-lalo na po ang yung mga learnings. At ito rin po, a few ground rules. During the course of the talk ay pwede nyo pong ilagay sa comment section ang inyong mga comments, ang inyong mga suggestions, ang inyong mga katanungan, pero ilalive po natin ang inyong mga katanungan pagkatapos po ng slides and mismong presentation ng ating mga speakers. And it will be lumped into 2 batches. So magkakasabay po yung first batch at magkakasabay din po yung second batch. So again, let me see where you are from. At sabihin nyo rin po if you are a representative from a particular school, let us know. Ayan, sige po. Thank you very much for tuning in. Ayan, no? I just want to know, nakapag-lunch na po ba kayong lahat? Ayan, kasi po, hanggang mamaya pa tayong 5 p.m. And I would just like to tell you na wala po tayong break. Tuloy-tuloy po tayo and I hope you are gonna be learning a lot today. At ito naman po, we're not gonna be requiring you naman to stay tuned the whole time. Pwede po kayo maglakad-lakad, pwede po kayo mag-prepare ng inyong mga merienda, you can do something else. Basta you are tuned in pa rin at nakikinig in the background. Ayan, basta mahalaga po ay marami kayong natututunan from us. At let me just remind everyone na hindi lang po tayo live, we are on replay as well. So sa mga nakakanood dito, sa replay, hello sa inyo at sana habang pinapanood nyo kami ay wala ng COVID-19 pandemic crisis. Di ba? Kasi nga po, itong ginagawa natin ay nasa gitna po ng community quarantine sa buong Pilipinas at sa buong mundo. So hello po, Marby Ducante from Bacoor, Cavite. At kanina nga po may nakita ako straight from Ilocos Norte. Hello, thank you sa inyong lahat. At ayan si Ramses Aguyo Pabiliar. Ayan, good afternoon din. At shout out sa iyo. At ito po ang pinakamaganda. Kung kayo po ay merong local language, batiin niyo po kami sa inyong lingwahe. Ito po, Fernando Villarmino from Taytay Rizal. Ayan, o, di ba? Batiin niyo kami in Bisaya. Batiin nyo kami in Ilocano at sa mga nanonood dyan. In fact po, ang nanay at tatay ko ay nagpupuyat ngayong oras na ito sapagkat sila ay nanonood straight from San Jose, California. Good evening, everyone. Diba? Sabi ni IK Divina watching from Valenzuela. Ayan, napakalayo naman itong Valenzuela. O di ba sana magandang internet mo diyan, Joe. Okay, at again, I would like to wish everyone na sana po ay mahusay po ang inyong internet at okay po tayo, relax tayo until 5 p.m. Sabi ni Roxy James, it's good to be back watching from Marikina City. Aba, napaka-talented ng mga tiga Marikina. Ayan, sige, I just wanna know kung saan po kayo galing at pakibati po kaming lahat in your local language kung meron pong local language doon. Okay po? So binabati ko ulit ang mga nanonood dito all the way from Cebu, from Iloilo. Ayan, sabi ni Caitlin Luz Ramos na Imbag Amalem. Di ba? Thank you, Ilocano, si Miss Caitlin. Sabi, ng Gomendoro, aba, Maraming salamat, Go Mindoro, for tuning in with us. Hello din po sa inyo. At humayo kayo at magparami pa ng blessings. Go Mindoro, di ba? At muli, ako po si PJ, isa po ako sa mga mentors at ako po ang inyong magiging host ngayong hapong ito. Sabi ni Sofia Hilario, watching from Antipolo, represent! Di ba? At marami po kami katanungan. We would like to very much encourage you to put everything, your answers on the comment section. Sabi ni Chi Garcia, happy Friday watching from Pasig. Yan, marami mga tiga-NCR. We want to hear from all of you from outside of NCR, tipong Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Sabi ni Macy Sugarol, hi, I'm Macy watching from Cebu City. Maayong udto. Ayun, no? Happy Design Week to everyone. At Happy Design Week din sa iyo, Macy. O, diba? Ayan, no? So please represent your area. Madyaw Nagabila Kamayo. O, diba? So sorry, sana I was able to pronounce that well. From Davao de Oro. O yun, no? Davao de Oro, Ramses Guyo Pamilyar. Thank you for being with us. Hatakin nyo na po yung mga families and friends nyo para marami rin silang matutunan from us. At sinasabi nga nila, di ba? Uy, si Sile, kaibigan ko to, si Sile Joy Serrano. Hi PJ, maayo na hapon. Uy, maayo na hapon din sa imo. Sile Joy Serrano. Thank you very much for being with us. And again, as promised, we are going to be joined by our fellow mga designers, mga fellow creatives. And I think we are officially going to be starting this show for this afternoon. Okay ba? So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to On Demand, a forum on productivity for creatives. And thank you po sa ating mga partners, DTI-Design Center of the Philippines. Thank you. Ayan, no? And Crazy About Paper for bringing us this event today. And itong pinakamatindi, it's all for free. Thank you po. We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. So, how are we doing today? It's a beautiful Friday afternoon, and we are happy that you are here with us. We have 6 very exciting talks for all of you. At buti na lang dahil merong mga online events na ganito, di ba? We can still feel that we are all together maski lockdown tayo in our own houses or wherever we are in the country or in the world. Okay. I can literally feel that you are, I am with you and you with me. Maski nakapambahay, maski itong long sleeves na ito at saka naka-collar, naka-shorts pa rin, di ba? And again, let us know po throughout the whole 3 hours where you're from at kung anong ginagawa mo para mabati natin kayo, para makapagkwentuhan tayo. Let us know in the comment section. And again, this afternoon will not be possible without our friends from the Design Center of the Philippines. This is one of the first events to kick off Design Week 2020. So thank you ha. Isa kayo sa mga unang-unang sumuporta ngayong taong ito for Design Week. At alam niyo naman po, 2020 is not canceled. It's very much alive. Tuloy na tuloy po tayo. And straight from the Design Center of the Philippines, we would like to welcome and to give a message from a representative from the Design Center of the Philippines. Sige po. Let's all welcome an executive and a representative from the Design Center of the Philippines. Uy, Miss Rhea Matute is here, the executive director. Kaya kakakilig naman. The Design Center of the Philippines herself. Okay, once again, Miss Rhea Matute.
Photo finish. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Virtual hello, no? It's an honor to be with you this afternoon. And Design Center is really proud of the relationships that we have built over the past years with an incredible creative and design community throughout the Philippines. In as much as we support the growth and evolution of these communities and hubs, it has also taught us so much about the nuances of the industry and the lives of the Philippine creative class. And what a life it has been the past 6 to 7 months. In fact, it has been quite a roller coaster ride. Throughout the initiatives of the arts, culture, and the creative industries block of the House of Representatives, we have also been able to delve into the lives and to the livelihood of the creative communities these past 6 to 7 months and the effect of the pandemic on your livelihood. The DTI, along with the Creative Economy Council of the Philippines, is currently putting together a program to finally jumpstart the development of the Philippine creative economy. And Design Center is very proud to be actively involved in this and remain committed to supporting the designers and the creative communities. And this is why we are here with you today. Despite not being able to physically gather this year for the Design Week Philippines 2020, we are happy to overcome physical limitations and connect with you all digitally and support your initiatives. Because as history has taught us, crisis has been the most powerful catalyst for individuals to think creatively. Crisis provides us a trigger to think differently. There's a clue in the etymology of the word crisis, which comes from the Latinized form of the Greek word crisis, meaning turning point in a disease. Not necessarily a negative thing, but a change in direction. Therefore, the Science Center wants to challenge this notion of crisis-driven innovation towards not simply a turning point or a new normal, but towards a better normal. And this has been the theme of our work in 2020 and in our future work moving forward. And this is the reason why the Science Center, through Design Week Philippines, is very happy to be with you this afternoon, to be a partner of a collective such as Crazy About Paper, because Crazy About Paper embodies what it means to be a creative community during these trying times. You provide space for the growth of the members of your creative community. You foster healthy competition to nudge them to grow stronger and to be more resilient. And with events like the one that we have this afternoon, you're also able to provide tools for creatives to stay inspired and to stay motivated. And this reminds me of a message from one of our speakers in our recently concluded International Design Conference that really resonated with me. And this was that it is okay to pause, because to pause is part of the design process. To pause is part of the creative process, because when we pause, we are able to take a step back. We are able to see the bigger picture. And when that happens, we are opening ourselves up to even more ideas, and ideas that can possibly help or guide more people. I know that with the session this afternoon, we will be able to do just that. So I ask you to take this pause, to take this step back, and to absorb the inspiration from the remarkable roster of speakers this afternoon. I hope we can take in that information that best resonates with us and with our work, so that when we get back to our drawing board, so to speak, we are greeted with a fresh perspective on our craft and a better grasp on our purpose as designers and as creatives, and indeed live up to the promise of the word crisis. So with that in mind, thank you to Crazy About Paper and today's event, On Demand, a forum on productivity for creatives, for being one of our first partner events for this year's Design Week Philippines. I hope that after this afternoon, you will continue on your creative and innovation journey, as well as continue to follow and attend the other Design Week Philippine events lined up throughout October and November. And with that, I bid you all great afternoon and thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss Rhea. Thank you. As in, kinikilig ako na nandito kayo live. O, diba? Thank you.
Pinapawisan ako!
At saka, this is one of the early events ng Design Week, and thank you po for being with us, and thank you po for having us and for doing this with you. Thank you po. And again, palakpakan natin Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao and all over the world. Miss Rhea Matute, the Executive Director of the Design Center of the Philippines. Thank you po.
Thank you, PJ.
Okay po. And now we will officially start with our first talk of the day. Ang unang-una po natin pag-uusapan ngayon, how to maximize whatever you have in your life at para po maging productive kayo. So yan po ang ating unang pag-uusapan, and this is gonna be delivered by me, yours truly. Okay po. So again, ako po si PJ Lanot. Ako po ang inyong host and first speaker of the day. Now, when I say po kasi situation, ang mga entrepreneurial ang mindset, hindi nila nakikita ang mga bagay bilang isang sitwasyon lamang, bilang isang pangyayari. Iniisip nila ito bilang opportunity. Lahat ng bagay ay nagiging oportunidad. Even itong pandemic crisis na ito, hindi lang ito sitwasyon, kundi isang opportunity. Kumbaga ginagawa nila, dahil meron silang entrepreneurial mindset, ang lahat ng bagay ay nagiging investment. versus an expense. For example, ano ibig sabihin ba? At ano ang difference ng investment sa expense? Ang investment po is anything that can make you rich with resources. An expense is anything that can make you poor with resources. So anong sinasabi natin? Ito po, anong resources ang inyong ininvest ngayong araw na ito para maging productive at para mapayaman ang inyong mga buhay? Of course, nag-invest kayo sa time, nag-invest kayo sa equipment, nag-invest kayo sa internet, so on and so forth. Pero ulit, itong mga bagay na ito ay nagiging investment lang kapag ka merong return on investment. Kasi pag walang return on investment, ang tawag dyan, expense. Kasi nasasayang yung resource na yon at hindi mo siya napapakinabangan. So ang tanong ko sa inyo, itong 2 to 5 p.m. na i-google natin na ating i-investan, babalik ba ito? All depends on you. Gawin nating investment versus expense, gawin natin itong sitwasyon ng Design Week bilang isang opportunity. So unang-una, i-maximize natin, number 1 is your location. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, and I'm sure meron po kayong mga ballpen at mga notebook dito. So pakikuha po ha. Unang-una, saan kayo nakatira? Anong meron dyan sa lugar nyo? Dyan sa lokasyon nyo, anong meron? Few questions to answer is, number 1, ano ang local talent dyan? Ano yung alam ng mga tao? Pag sinabi kong, let's say, Paete, Laguna, ano ang kanilang crafts? Ano yung local talent nila? Of course, panlililo, sculpture. At pag sinabi ko namang Marikina, let's say, ano ang talent ng mga Marikenyo? Shoes. Ito pa, pangalawang tanong, ano ang natural resources na mayaman ang inyong lugar? Kasi po, pag sinabi ko Jensen, ano yung unang pumapasok sa utak nyo? Of course, boksingero, at saka syempre, ang mga tuna. At pag sinabi ko namang Batangas, saan mayaman ang Batangas in terms of natural resources? You could say a lot of things like local talent, paggagawa ng balisong, ano pa, nandyan ang mga Angus beef or yung sinasawag din ng Batangas beef, nandyan din ang kape, so on and so forth. Nandun din ang bulalo. Ngayon, pag sinabi ko namang Guimaras, for example, ano ang meron sa Guimaras? Mga mangga. At lastly, pwede mo itanong in terms of your location, ano mga problema ng iyong lugar? At kapag may problema, bilang isang entrepreneur, bilang isang creative, mag-iisip ka kung anong oportunidad meron sa isang problema. For example, nakakatawa nga po, galing po ako sa LPU, sa Lyceum of the Philippines, Cavite, at tinanong ko po sa mga college students doon, na marketing students, tinanong ko sa kanila, dito sa inyong AV room, sa inyong audiovisual room, ano ang meron dito na pwede nyong gamitin, na pwede nyong ikayaman? Sabi ng isa, Sir, ang daming pangit. Ngayon, kung maraming pangit sa inyong lugar, anong negosyo ang dapat mong buksan? Game. At ang sagot nila, of course, punerarya. Siyempre, yung iba nagpapatawa, di ba? Pero ang sagot nila ay parlor, of course, makeup studio, magbebenta ng pampapayat, magbebenta ng makeup, so on and so forth. Yung seemingly isang problema or concern, kapag ka-entrepreneurial ka mag-isip, ay pwede mong i-convert into an opportunity or an investment. Okay po? At pangalawang pwede nating i-maximize. Number 2 is time. At yan po ang ating pag-uusapan mamaya sa aking Automate, Educate na sa forum later po this afternoon. And I would just like to remind all of you that number 1, in terms of time, we must focus. As much as possible, let's do one thing at a time. At yan po ang aking tuturo mamaya. At ito, isipin nyo po ito. So that's number 1, focus. Number 2, Parkinson's Principle. Ang Parkinson's Principle, ang sinusunod po niyan, kung ano ang mas urgent, kung ano ang mas maikling deadline, yan po ang usually ginagawa mo. Ibig sabihin, tipong last in, first out. Okay naman, first in, first out. Basta kung ano yung pinaka-urgent, yun ang nagagawa nyo. For example, eto po lalong-lalo na, kapag matagal ang deadline. Ang araw po ngayon ay Friday. Isipin nyo po, kung ang inyong mga teacher o kaya naman ang design centers mismo ay nirequire kayo gumawa ng reaction paper which is due next Friday, magkaaminan tayo. Kailan nyo gagawin ang reaction paper? Next week, of course, kasi ang tagal pa ng deadline. So anong sinasabi ng Parkinson's Principle? Kung may kailangan kang gawin, set a deadline. Kasi ang tendency, pag walang deadline, ang isang bagay ay hindi nagagawa. Imagine niyo to. Yung mga nangungutang sa inyo, pag hindi mo binigay ng deadline, ay hindi yan mababayaran. Tama po ba? Kapag sinabi nila, magbabayad ako pag may pera na, I'm sure ako dyan, hindi kayo mababayaran kasi walang specific deadline. So, sa lahat po ng inyong mga tasks ay mag-set po kayo ng deadline. Okay, number 3 that you have to maximize, physical self. Ano ang meron sa katawan mo na pwede mong i-maximize para sa iyong pagtatrabaho? i-check nyo. Maganda ba yung kamay nyo? Maganda ba yung mukha nyo? Are you healthy enough to work? Kasi gusto ko pong sabihin sa inyo na ang katawan nyo po ang magtatrabaho sa buong buhay nyo and no one else. So if you want to work for the rest of your life, make sure na yung katawan nyo ay is in tip-top shape. Gaya nga po na sabi ng isang karpintero, kapag gusto niya raw pong magtrabaho, siyempre kailangan niyang alagaan ang kanyang mga tools. At tayo, ano ang mga tools natin? Ang ating katawan. Paano po natin maalagaan ang ating katawan? 3 bagay lamang po. Number 1, get enough rest. Number 2, eat and drink well. Pag sinabi kong eat and drink well, ibig sabihin po, ang tanong ko sa inyo ngayon, umiinom po ba kayo ng 8 glasses of water every single day? At sa marami sa inyo, uminom po kayo all throughout this 2 to 5 na session natin para hindi po kayo ma-dehydrate. So, that's number 1, rest. Number 2, eat and drink well. And number 3, exercise. Ayan po. Kung gusto nyo ng exercise na mabilis lang, eto po. Wag na kayo mag-isip ng iba pa. Jumping jacks. 30 seconds and 3 sets. So, 1 minute and 30 seconds, the jumping jacks, and that's it. Okay po. Fourth, that you should maximize is information. Kasi po, muli, di ba? Anong sinasabi ni Ernie Baron? Di ba? Sa mga 80s and 90s kids, di ba? Pag meron kang knowledge, meron kang power. Huwag kang papasok sa isang bagay, huwag kang papasok sa isang negosyo, huwag kang papasok sa isang deal na wala kang alam. So it pays to know. And that goes without saying. Number 5, ang kailangan natin i-maximize ay ang talent. Ang question ko po, ano po yung talent nyo nung bata kayo? At I just wanna know, itong talent po ba na ginagawa nyo nung bata kayo, hanggang ngayon po ba nagagamit nyo siya? Kasi ito po, gusto ko sabihin sa inyo, ay lahat po tayo talented nung bata. Pero bakit siya nawawala? Kasi nahiya na tayo. So ito po, gusto ko sabihin sa inyo, and I would like to commend all the people who are in TikTok. Kasi lahat naman po tayo kumakanta at sumasayaw ng bata. Pero nahiya lang tayo, tumanda lang tayo, kaya natin tinigil. So anong sinasabi natin? Di ba yung mga nagsasayaw ngayon because of TikTok, I would like to commend you kasi you are doing that for yourself. You are dancing like no one is watching. So ngayon po, ako nakakatawa kasi nung bata po ako, isa po sa mga talents ko ay nanggagaya po ako ng boses. Lalo na po ang boses ng nanay at tatay ko. For example, uuwi ang tatay ko galing sa opisina, sasabihin niya sa akin, "Oh, PJ, kumain ka na ba?" So, ang sasagot ko, "Kanina pa ako kumain. Masarap nga eh. Ikaw, kumain na ba?" So, ginagaya ko po yung boses niya lagi. So, ang nangyari, dahil sa panggagaya ko ng boses, ngayon po, isa sa mga trabaho ko ay isa po akong voice actor. At ito po, lagi ko pong sinasabi ito, ako po ang boses ni John Lloyd Cruz sa mga commercials. Yung tipong biogesic, ako po ang boses doon. Yung tipong, ito, I'm sure na papanood nyo to, yung tipong, acting lang, pagkat, tapos, pero pag totoong headache ang kailangan tapusin, biogesic na yan. At hanggang ngayon po, maski may panahon ng pandemya, ay ako pa rin po ay nag-voice acting from home. Okay, ang next po na ating pwedeng i-maximize ay ang ating experience. Ang question ko, meron ba kayong mga bagay na ginagawa nyo noon na pwede nyong gawing negosyo, na pwede nyong i-racket ngayon? Ano yung mga na-OJT-han nyo na? Ano yung mga nagawa nyo na sa school? Ano yung mga dating trabaho nyo na pwede nyo ngayon gawing racket? So, ngayon, ito po, napapansin po natin kapag ka nag-OJT tayo, and this is a true story, kapag ka nag-OJT tayo, minsan iniisip natin, bakit tayo yung nagbabayad para sa kanila? Diba? Dapat tayo yung binabayaran kasi nag-work tayo. Kasi po, ano ang sinasabi ng mga malaking korporasyon, lalo na po ng mga ospital? The education that you're getting is not from books, but from experience. Here, we teach you real-life experience. Actually po, ang experience natin ay napakamahal. At ito po isa dapat nating minamaximize. Kasi po, ang experience ay hindi po talaga nababayaran. At ito, you cannot teach experience. You really have to experience it. At kaya nga sabi nila, di ba? Experience is the best. Di ba? Teacher. Okay. At ang next na pwede natin i-maximize ay ang technology. Ayan. At dahil po sa pandemyang ito, ay na-maximize talaga natin ang work from home. Di ba? Yung mga sinasabi dati na hindi natin kayang gawin, ay nagagawa na natin. Doable naman pala. So, again, that goes without saying, technology. And ito, isa sa mga pinakamahalaga, lalong-lalo na po sa Pilipinas, ang networks. Di ba? Sinasabi nga nila, di ba? Lalo dito sa Pilipinas, it's not what you know, but who you know. At lahat po ito ay importante, lalong-lalo na na hindi natin nakikita at nakikilala ang isa't isa at lahat po ay digital. So, uutusan ko po kayo. I-check nyo po lahat ng mga taong nasa comment section. Kilalanin nyo sila, i-chat nyo sila. Sabihin mo, hey, Prek, Chong, Miss, hi, hello, classmates tayo right now this afternoon. I-chat mo sila. Kasi bakit? Ito po ang potential kapag kilala mo ang isang tao. Number one, that person could be a potential customer ng iyong products and services. Number two, that can be a potential supplier, maging business partner. O kaya naman po, pwede mo maging literal na business partner or investor. And if everything fails, pwede maging friend. O, di ba? And number five, optional ito, pwede mong mautangan. O, di ba? Joke. Okay. And the ninth is the passion. Pakisulat nga po. Isulat nyo sa inyong mga notebooks at isipin nyo, ano yung bagay na passionate kayo? Yung tipong, maski hindi kayo bayaran, ay gagawin nyo. Yung tipong, hindi na kayo makakatulog the day before at ang aga-aga nyong gigising dahil gusto nyo siyang gawin. At is there a way na magiging racket, magiging project, magiging trabaho mo, magiging career mo eventually, itong passion na ito? At ito, nakakatawa po. Isa po akong trainer for the last 13 years with DTI and with Go Negosyo for the last 3 years. And for as long as I know, I've been doing teachings for the rest of my life. At ito po, nung in-announce po na ako po yung magtotok para ngayong hapong ito, ay hindi na po ako nakatulog ng ilang taon. At ilang linggo. Kasi po excited ako sa trabaho ko. This is my passion. And now I am living my dream. So ngayon po, tanong ko sa inyo, saan kayo passionate? Baka pwedeng mahanapan na gawin nyo siyang trabaho. Kasi sabi nga nila, napaka-cliche, if you love what you're doing, then you will never work a day in your life. And lastly, thing that we should maximize. Ito po, napakaganda, money. Sapagkat kapag ang inyo pong trabaho, ang inyo pong mga racket ay science-based at sinusuportahan po ng DOST, ang DOST or Department of Science and Technology ay nagpapautang po ng equipment. Kung ano po yung kailangan nyo, kailangan lang po i-canvas at you have to justify na kailangan nyo siya, ay pauutangin po kayo, zero interest and usually po nagsastart ang payment ng mga utang on the 6th month onwards and 3 years to pay. At ano pa, sa mga small businesses, ang SB Corp po ay nagpapautang. Anong ibig sabihin ng SB Corp? Yung Small Business Corporation sa pamamagitan ng DTI. So when in doubt, ay pumunta po kayo sa nearest DTI Negosyo Center. Lahat po, buong parte ng Pilipinas ay may DTI Negosyo Center at pwede po kayo magpa-advise sa mga business counselors doon. So muli, ako po si PJ at sana po ma-maximize nyo yung 10 items na yan. At now, I will be introducing our next speaker. Di ba? Ganito tayo kabilis, mga kaibigan. And again, tuloy-tuloy po ang ating comment section. Ha? Sabihin nyo po sa akin kung tigasan po kayo, anong trabaho nyo para ma-shoutout ko kayo. And now, our next speaker, di ba, is the founder and director of Viviamo Inc., Miss Darlyn Ty-Nilo. Good afternoon, Dar.
Hi, thank you, PJ. So, sobrang exciting. We're live this Friday and we have almost a lot of viewers. I can see it right now and So we're so excited to see like people in the NCR and up to Davao, no? Ang galing. And sobrang exciting and I hope you guys participate in the comment section. We will try to read them. And so it's and if we'll be entertaining a lot of questions also, right, PJ?
Yes, oo naman. So again, ang pinaka gateway po dito ay sabihin nyo sa amin kung ano po yung trabaho nyo, tigasan kayo para ma-shoutout namin, para ma-chat namin kayo. And again, sabi ko nga, Dar, pwede natin maging friends, pwede natin maging supplier, pwede natin maging partner, pwedeng maging customer natin ang isa't isa. So we get to network with each other. At ito maganda, Dar, kasi ito po ay national event ng DTI-Design Center for Design Week. So, mga like-minded people ay pwedeng maging contacts. At saka 'di ba sinasabi nga nila, Dar, walang ibang nakakaintindi sa isang creative, sa isang entrepreneur, someone who works in the industry, kundi yung kapwa niya rin na creative, kapwa niya rin na entrepreneur, kapwa niya rin na nagtatrabaho sa same industry.
Correct.
So,
kasi parang
okay.
hindi sige, sorry.
Sige, go.
Kasi hindi yung ibang situations parang hindi nakaka-relate lahat ng tao. So, it's really nice to be with like-minded people, yung mga people talaga going through the same things as we are going through. So, exactly. I guess with that, PJ.
So with that, ipapakilala ko po sa inyo very, very live and just to give you a brief background on herself. She is the founder and president of the Belle de Jour Power Planners and crazy about paper herself in Viviamo Inc. Once again, palakpakan natin the founder and director of Viviamo, Darlyn Ty-Nilo.
Yay! Okay, so thank you, BJ. So I will take the floor. So here, guys, my segment is talking about setting boundaries. Kasi I think, kaya ako yung second speaker natin after you guys learned yung how do we maximize some of the resources that we have with PJ. Syempre, one of the things that we have to protect as creatives is really to set our boundaries or our space. Kasi this is one of the most important things that we need to be able to do in this pandemic. Kasi minsan, di ba, iniisip natin, pandemic na, nagsisiksikan na kami sa bahay. So, paano pa ako makagawa ng space of my own? And this is very important as we move forward in creating and designing our new normal. So, moving to the first slide, I will share like very quick points. Number one is, I guess this is the reason why I started this business of creating journals and planners, because I've recognized early on for the past 15 years that it's very important talaga na we take a pause and to process our emotions, process like where we are. Kasi before you move forward to any location, any goal, syempre kailangan mo muna i-check-in. Nasaan ba ako nakatayo? 'Di ba? Saan ko ba sineset yung goal? 'Di ba? Saan ako nanggagaling? So, it's very important that you know where you're standing, you know where your emotions are. So, sabay-sabay tayo. Let's take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale lang yan. So, minsan, yun lang yung kailangan natin. To calm down, to process. When we're overwhelmed, it's really just taking a deep breath. And then the acceptance that things are not as it was before and things are actively changing. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, guys. So, you take the pause and you take the time to process. So, you journal. So, you write things down and no judgment. Parang don't judge yourself in terms of ito ba dapat yung sinusulat ko? Mali naman yung sinusulat ko. Wrong grammar to. Ano ba to? Dapat naka-English. Hindi. Wala. You're writing for yourself. You're writing that no one will read it. So you're writing it just for you. You're writing to be able to break things down. You're writing to understand yourself better. So there's really no right or wrong method or process. You just have to just start writing it. And siguro yung pinaka-big tip ko here is be curious about yourself. Okay? So, our next point is actually something that I'm not so sure if you guys know the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, diba? Usually, naka-triangle to. Pero, since creative tayo, gusto natin may tao. So, I picked this up. I thought this was very useful and it was a good reminder for us to always look at the hierarchy of needs. Kasi this hierarchy of needs, established yan ever since before. So, hindi yan pwede na, no, I want to be fulfilling myself, pero apparently, yung hindi ka pa kumakain, 'di ba? Hindi mo na, parang take care, na alagaan yung basic needs mo. So, identify the CSF is your critical success factors. So, kanina sinabi ko, it's really taking the time to pause, to process, understanding yourself, being curious about yourself. So, with being curious with yourself, you have to understand what are your basic needs. Part of your basic needs ba maligo? Part of your basic needs mag-toothbrush. So, we had an event around 3 weeks ago for You Got This PH. So, it was a live summit. And you guys can check it out again. And one of our speakers said na parang, when you're not feeling like yourself, check in first. Naligo ka na ba? Nag-toothbrush ka na ba? Kumain ka na ba? Basic needs. So, identify what are your basic needs. Kasi, aminin na natin, yung pandemic, parang, diba dati, sobrang Filipinos are so known for palagi naliligo 2 times, 3 times a day. Nung hindi na kailangan lumabas, wala ka ng taong hinaharap except your family. Naliligo ka pa ba? So, let's just be honest, diba? So, look at your basic needs. Apparently, important pala yun. Kasi ako, personally, to be honest, during the time, siguro around June, July, mga, every other day na lang, ganyan. Tapos then na-realize ko, it affected also my productivity. I didn't feel good about myself. So, yung ginawa ko right after that, I know it's funny, di ba? Pero, right after that, sinasabi ko talaga, everyday, nagigising ako before 6 o'clock. I'm a morning person. I take a bath at around 6 o'clock every single day as if I'm going out again because I realize that's one of my basic needs. That's one of the ways that I'm able to normalize my life. And then in terms of safety and security, how do you feel like you're secure, you're safe in your environment, in your home? So how do you create that um, environment, 'di ba? The third is the emotional support system, yung belongingness and needs yan. So you have to identify na kahit gaano ka-introvert, and of course the extrovert are yung pinaka nahihirapan sa pandemic ngayon, 'di ba? But even if you're an introvert, no man is an island. So very important that we also recognize that. So maybe you just want to communicate or keep in touch with one or two friends, right? Or your family members, but you need that emotional support system. So that's part of our basic needs. Then, after you address this first three basic, and ano yan step ladder yan, yung Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have to go to from foundation paakyat. And then, of course, the self-esteem. And that's where you start feeling good about yourself. Na, okay, I'm okay, and so on. And then yung actualization na you start to feel your purpose. Hindi siya pwedeng, talon na tayo, let's figure out our purpose. Pero yung basic needs natin, hindi pa natin na-address. Hindi siya pwede. So you have to go through the ladder. You follow the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And you identify your critical success factors. Sa akin, critical success factor ko, kailangan ko talaga ng kape everyday. So, kahit, di ba, madami, conflicting yung news na sinasabi, yung mga nakikita natin, iba, good for you yung kape, yung iba, bad for you yung kape. Di ba, yung ang daming mga information on that. But for me, it helps me. It helps me be more productive. And so, that's part of my critical success factor. And it's very important to me. And that's why I make sure na sa pantry namin, sa kitchen namin, sa kusina, meron talaga akong palaging kape. Kasi kung wala akong kape, hindi ako makaka-function. So, it's very important that you get to know yourself in that level. What are your essentials on the physical? What will help you make you feel more secure? Maybe it's financially. Kung financially, if we're parang medyo constrained yung finances right now, what can make you feel secure? Maybe yung kagaya na sinabi ni PJ earlier, knowledge is power. So maybe it's really identifying what are yung needs mo. Kailangan mo ba talaga ng ganun kadaming pera? Or what are your basic needs? So it's really about identifying these things. And ito, tip lang to, this week ko lang to narinig from my prayer group friends. Learn how to fall in and out of love of your partner and yourself. Kasi falling in, minsan parang may pressure na kailangan palagi in love ako sa sarili ko. Palagi may self-love, palagi may ganito. Nakaka-pressure minsan, diba? So, you allow yourself to fall out of love with yourself na you're frustrated, you're na parang, shucks, I'm not the best person, best version of myself right now. But also acknowledge that you can fall right back in. So, okay lang yan. No judgment. Just allow. Just go through the process. And as we move on, my third point is actually all about I'll wait for the is about creating your own space. Okay? So, parang may process to. Technically, yung sinabi ko kanina from journaling, processing, it's not a 1, 2, and 3. I'm not identifying it. Yung Maslow's hierarchy of needs, kailangan talaga from foundation paakyat. Pero ito, I'm giving you guys 4 tips. These 4 tips you can start anywhere, wherever you're comfortable in. And so the third step in setting your boundaries and being able to create a space for yourself is literally creating your own space. So in your home, kahit gaano pa yan kaliit, you create like one corner that you craft na, okay, this space, you declare it that this space is where I'm gonna make my art. This space is where I'm gonna do my work. This space is where all my ideas will be coming coming to life. So you have to declare it. Okay? You have to be able to declare it. It doesn't matter, hindi yan palakihan, pagandahan ng space. I mean, syempre, minsan, nakaka-inget yung nakikita natin sa social media na sobrang ganda yung space nila. Pero you work with what you have. Like ako, right now, hindi lang obvious, naka-angle lang yung camera. Pero I'm actually in my bedroom because we do not have space. So, but it's really creating that corner and adjusting it and declaring it as your own. So, when you find your own space, you have to create that physical space for yourself. Kasi that's actually part of the basic needs. 'Di ba? Yung physical. And then the second level on creating your own space is finding time during the busyness of the day for your me time. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to find that pause or quiet wherein you're just staying with yourself. Kasi 'di ba sabi nga natin, fall in and out of love with yourself, be curious with yourself. So paano mo naman gagawin 'yun if you don't spend time with yourself, 'di ba? So parang you sort of just try to treat yourself as if it's another person. So if you're getting to know someone, 'di ba? Kailangan you spend time with yourself. Kasi if you don't spend time with yourself, paano mo naman kikilalanin? And I think with everything that's happening right now, we are constantly changing. And because we're constantly changing, nagbabago din talaga yung needs natin. And that's why these things that I'm sharing with you are very important because this is one of the ways that we get to know ourselves and figure out what will make us productive, what will make us more empowered, what will make us more creative. And the last point before tayo mag-next speaker, ayan, is really to communicate, over-communicate. So, bakit ko to sinasabi? Kasi minsan, parang, bakit maiinis tayo sa mga housemates natin, sa family natin? Ano ba yan? Bakit hindi nyo naiintindihan? Nagtatrabaho nga ako dito tapos ginugulo pa ako. Minsan hindi nila naiintindihan na to be able to work, you need your quiet time. They don't know that to be able to work, this is what you need, right? So, there are things that you need that other people don't understand or they don't see. So, it's our responsibility to be able to communicate what we need. So, wag naman yung over-communicate na nangungulit, nang aaway na, 'di ba? But over-communicate coming from a place of love, communicating, coming from a place of trust. So parang when your energy, ikaw mismo, parang, I want to be able to communicate this about myself to my partner, to my husband, to my family, because I want them to be able to see the best version of me. And if I'm not I don't have my alone time, they won't see the best version of me. Kasi parang konting parang pipitik ka na, 'di ba? Parang sasabog ka na. So, it's very important that we're able to communicate this. I know tayo mga Filipino, minsan nahihirapan tayo to ask what we need. And this is why this is very important in setting your boundaries. Kasi hindi naman ibig sabihin na set mo yung boundaries in your head, ma-absorb na ng family mo or friends or your workmates. So you have to communicate it because we are not mind readers. And then we always have to believe also that we are loved. Kasi minsan, iniisip na, hindi kasi ako naiintindihan Parang if we're coming from that assumption, galit na tayo sa mundo. If we're coming, palagi akong hindi naiintindihan, palagi na lang ako hindi tinutulungan, palagi na lang akong ganyan. If yun yung mindset natin, yun yung makikita natin. So there has to be some adjustment also on our end to believe na, hey, maybe my family, maybe my friends, maybe my workmates are also interested to help me also. And then at the same time, ikaw then you recognize that maybe whatever is happening on their side is not really about you, but mostly it's about them also. Kasi kung ano namang pinagdadaanan natin, pinagdadaanan din nila. So, again, reminders to be responsible for your own needs. And that's why the first part that I was sharing, from pausing, processing, identifying your critical success factors, and creating your space, it helps you figure out where you are, what you need, and then you communicate it. Because when you communicate it, then you're acknowledging, I'm taking care of myself. I'm being responsible for myself by communicating properly, politely to others, and also recognizing that we're not that we need to be able to ask for help also when needed, right? So, ayan, those are our 4 tips for setting boundaries coming from me. I hope you enjoyed that. And then I will want to share with you guys that for today, so may special tayo since we're celebrating our Happy Design Week, the start of our design month with DTI. We're doing a special flash sale just for today. It started at 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. So the promo code is 100 off on demand. All capitalized at crazyaboutpaper.com for a minimum purchase of 1,000 pesos. And guys, currently, just a tip, naka-launch sale prices pa yung website. So if you guys need anything for any resources, and later on, we have exciting news wherein we will be sharing our artists lineup in crazyaboutpaper.com. So you guys can use this flash sale to avail of the products. And then at the same time, guys, ayun, may mga discounts din tayo ongoing right now. So this 100%, 100 peso off is on top of that discount. So with that, I think I'm ready, PJ.
Hello,
Hello.
thank you, Dar. Ang dami ko natutunan doon. At saka marami ring natututunan. Ang ating comment section, piniflex din nila na may sarili silang space, di ba? May sarili silang exclusive room for themselves. Uy, thank you ha. We really appreciate that. At lahat nga po, di ba? Ito, let me just reiterate yung kaninang gusto kong sabihin at yung sinabi mo ngayon. And to all those who pre-registered for today's event, stay tuned because you will be eligible for the raffle for some productivity tools from Crazy About Paper. Ayan, di ba? So again, kasi po, prior to this event, nagpa-sign up po tayo. So again, sa mga nag-pre-register, eligible po kayo na manalo sa ating raffle. You may also get a special discount, so please don't forget to check your emails at sa mga further instructions from Miss Dar. So again, maraming salamat, Dar. We appreciate this. Palakpakan natin the founder and president of Belle de Jour Power Planners, Crazy About Paper, and Viviamo, Darlyn Ty-Nilo. Thank you. Okay, so again, let me just remind everyone, please reserve all your questions, your comments for all the speakers later po after this next speaker. So 3 at a time po ang ating mga tatanungin. And before we go to our next speaker, I would like to give a big shout out sa lahat po ng mga nanonood. Isulat nyo ulit ha, yung mga pangalan nyo at kung saan kayo galing at kung ano yung negosyo nyo para itag nyo na rin para ma-follow namin. And again, let's follow each other on socials. Some apologies po sa yung iba. Ina-add ako sa Facebook. Sorry po kasi 'di ba pag naka-personal page may limit. So better po sa Instagram at nandun po yung mga works, nandun din po yung mga photos for more information. So again please follow everyone on socials. So ako po, I would like to give a big shout out sa lahat po ng mga nanonood dito. Jessica Luciano, hello, and Sheila Galan, thank you. Azaza Rodriguez, at sabi ni Rosary de Guzman, thank you daw for the additional discount, at thank you rin for tuning in, and happy design weekend sa inyo. Sabi ni Angeli Pearl Dangaran, yay! At thank you rin at yay sa iyo dahil sa sumali ka. Sabi ni Marvy Docante, I hope I can win. I hope so as well. So just make sure na nakapag-sign up ka for this event. At kung hindi naman po, abangan nyo po yung mga announcements pa ng Crazy About Paper. And hello din po kay Penny Nieras at si Angela Isabel. Hello. Sa lahat po ulit na binabati ko kayo mga tiga Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao. Nakakatawa si Odette. Sabi niya, ang saya ng 100% off. Oo naman, di ba? Sana all. Sabi ni Aiza Garnica Santos, ayan na, itag nyo rin po yung mga friends nyo, di ba? At sabi nga ni Jemro Santos Cardenas, I agree. I always remind myself that everyone's intention is good, so I don't react negatively. I praise be to God. Tama po yan. And one last, sabi ni Odette Oliveros, maayong hapon from Davao Oriental. Maayong hapon din sa'yo, Miss Odette. So please, keep on coming and keep on commenting. Sabi ni Casey Vizon, naimbag nga adlaw. Hello! At naimbag nga adlaw din sa'yo. Diba? Okay, pa-shoutout. Sabi kay Sarah June Agbisit. Hello! Ito na ang shoutout mo. Diba? Sabi ni Husiki, Prinsesa, thank you. At sabi ko naman, welcome. At welcome din po in behalf of DTI for Julie Galabo. Ayan po, thank you and keep on coming. At sa lahat po ng mga kaibigan nyo, mga kasama nyo sa trabaho, please, hatakin nyo rin po sila sa event na to kasi marami po tayong matututunan at marami rin po tayong mga special prizes. And now, eto, inspiration to kasi 'di ba we are all working from home. Ito po ay magbibigay siya ng mga tips sa atin kung paano tayo mas magiging productive wherever we are in the world, wherever we are kung hindi man po sa opisina. Ngayon, tatawagin natin isa pong interior designer and entrepreneur. Palakpakan natin, Jean Panlilio.
Okay, hi Paige.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so happy to be part of today's forum and to see that so many fellow designers are engaging with us this afternoon. I'm Jen Panlilio. I'm an interior designer. You can find me through my IG account, JenPan, or Design by Detail, which is my design account. So today I'm going to share 5 space-saving tips for small spaces. We are actually supposed to tackle workspaces, but I feel it applies to all our other areas, also especially during this pandemic, where we find ourselves at home with this new normal. And I feel that workspace doesn't just apply to your desk, but it's the overall vibe of your environment. So the objective for these space-saving tips really is to help the flow, energy, efficiency of your space, thus allowing for more productivity. So 5 space-saving tips. Let's go to tip number 1. Okay. Declutter, throw out, give away, spring clean, call it whatever you want. But tip number 1 is really to clean out your space. I find decluttering to be effective because when you clear out the junk around you, you clear out your mind also. Somehow it goes hand in hand. Remember, the goal is for the energy to flow. By decluttering, you're opening up space. So I usually do this for myself once a year just to reset. And for my renovation, and for any renovation, I tell my clients also to spring clean so we have a better direction and focus on what is essential to them. It will also make your work easier as a designer. So tip number 1, clear your space. As Marie Kondo says, if it doesn't spark joy, thank it for being part of your life and learn to let it go. And you will find that having more space will make you feel fresh, energized, and ready to take on the world. And also, that saying that one man's trash is another man's treasure. Sell. You might find something in whatever you're throwing, and then you'll make money pa. So small wins there. So we go on to tip number 2. Okay, moving on to tip number 2 is make your priority list per area. I mean, it could be your desk, it could be your room, but priority list is a must. So over here in the slide, as you can see, is my priority list. Lists are personal because it's dependent on what you need or what your family members need. This is also what I like to call planning with a purpose. Okay, so what is meaningful, essential, and important for you? Once you have your priority list, you'll have a better understanding of the space allocation per item on the list. The space can now fulfill its proper purpose, minimizing dead space or wasted space. So for example, here is a floor plan in the slide. If you can see, it's a 31 square meter unit that I moved into in the middle of the pandemic. So these were my personal considerations: bed size, place for shoes, because I love shoes, cabinet space, of course, dining, a dining table. I mean, for 2, but maybe 3 max. Of course, a bar counter facing the wall would save you space if that's what you want. But for me, I like to have conversation with whoever I'm having a meal with. So this is my preference. I like to have a bar because I have to have my coffee. It's an essential for me to have coffee in the morning, alcohol in the evening. So the bar is important for me. So in my list, I need storage space. So around the areas, I have to have little pockets of storage space for, to keep vacuum, your cleaning materials, and all of those things. So this is my list. It's personal. So for you, if you have to make a list, what are your essentials at present? Because lists also change over time. And since productivity is the goal, for it to be maximized, seek first to fill in the space with whatever fits your immediate needs or essentials. So this pandemic has taught us go back to basics, right? So, for example, in your workstation, all you really need is a desk, a chair, and a lamp if it's dark in the area. But it's really necessary to determine your priorities because it also gives direction. And it will help you to avoid becoming overwhelmed with what to buy. Sometimes you don't know you have it already. So, you find something around the house and all you have to do is repurpose. So, wala nang gastos, diba? So this actually goes hand in hand with tip number 1 because while decluttering, you might find something from your bodega that is suddenly appropriate for your need today. Okay, so I really believe that there's a space for everything you need. You just have to prioritize and then organize. So next tip, which is tip number 3, measure, measure, measure. Or space planning, in other words. So whether you're doing a big space or a small space, but most importantly, a small and compact space needs measuring. So it is a crucial step. Measuring allows you to plan the flow of your personal system, and it also provides for more efficient movement around any space. So there it says, the better the flow, the lighter the energy, the brighter the space will feel. And of course, this also helps with productivity because when you feel good, you feel motivated. So having a plan based on your priorities will also help you make more intelligent investments in pieces that will help serve your purpose. So one of the things, it's really important to measure space before buying or ordering furniture because it allows you to determine the right proportion of furniture for the space. It will also save you time, effort, and the back and forth of going to the store, talking to customer service if you have to return something. It takes forever sometimes. So to avoid the back and forth consequence, do not do tansyahan method. I know it's tempting, but sometimes you go to the store, ay, ang ganda nito, and then mukhang kasha naman, diba? So you assume you buy it, and when it's delivered, you realize it's too big for the space. Or if you live in a condo, too big for the elevator, or even the front door of your home. So it's very important, for time. Or sometimes it also might be too small. So example, desk. Sayang naman also that you could have a big space for your workstation, but you end up buying a desk that's a little bit small when you could have had it bigger. So again, measure and plan first because planning leads to better flow. The better the flow, the lighter the energy, the brighter the space will feel. Thus, giving you peace of mind, calmness within your space, and this allows for productivity. So over here, I was going to talk about in the plan, if you see it, when you plan space also, and I was talking about the flow, see the arrows, that's where, it's really important when you're moving around your area that there's enough space. You're not bumping into things. You can walk freely, yet you can also maximize the spaces in each area. So that is one of the most important things to do for your space before you head to the store or do online shopping. So we move on to tip number 4, which is purchasing with a purpose. With this, I'm referring to function. So now that you have your priority list and you did your measurements and you planned your space, tip number 4 is all about function. when determining what furniture pieces to buy or to customize. So highly functional spaces or pieces provide high efficiency, therefore creating a highly productive home or space. So here on the two photos, these are two workstations. They're both functional. You have to think also, are you the kind na makalat? Do you collect stuff? Are you a minimalist? So, I mean, of course, these are nice to look at, but over time, you know, we really do pile up things. So when you're about to buy something, you know, in terms of its function, do you need drawers? Do you need cabinet space? Or are you minimalist? Are you going to just, you know, again, declutter every time something piles up there? These are things that you have to consider for your space so that, you know, you don't have too many things around. You can keep what's not there. I mean, what you don't need. And then your space still remains, you know, it still has a good flow. And if it's important to you, you might want it to also look Instagrammable. So, you know, if you want to hide your kalat, make sure you have hidden places for storage. So in small, but before anything else, of course, you also have to consider when you're talking about function, your budget, right? So in small, compact spaces, function is a necessity. It determines the must-haves versus the nice-to-haves. So a piece could be functional but not pretty, or it could be beautiful but not practical. The idea would be to marry these two to get form and function in one. So that would be ideal. But of course, going back to function for compact spaces, you know, you also have to consider the budget, right? It's if you want to spend on floor to ceiling shelves, then go ahead, you know. And then of course, if you're also on a budget and you just need, you know, a few pieces of furniture, find something that you can buy in the store that will serve your purpose. So going back to function for compact spaces, I would recommend choosing furniture pieces with drawers or cabinets. Well, that's personal for me, to maximize your storage. So in the next slide, for small spaces, you could find beds with drawers, you know, like the desks also. They're nice, simple ones with a cabinet and drawer as seen in the photo. And then, you know, for other cabinets, you can get both with open and closed shelves, right? And then over here, what I really like about, and this is really functional, right now you can get in the department stores these shelf space savers. So I love them. Like, you know, there's like a Lazy Susan for condiments, or for if you have art materials, you know, you can put it there, then just kind of what do you call this, turn it every time you need something. Or if not, like for example, you have a cabinet space and then the shelves are alanganin, you can also get these additional ones, and they're not expensive, that you can add on to your shelves so that you can put more things. And then in the bathroom, same thing, you know, I really like those mirrors where it has a cabinet, and then you can have one, you can make pagawa, or if not, you can, sometimes you can buy it readily available in the store. You know? So these are really important because it's not just the external that's functional, but also the internal. So that's your storage space, your storage spaces, your cabinet spaces, you know, and then even when you need something, it won't be hard to find it because you know exactly where everything is. And that makes you, of course, more productive, right? It gives you more time, more efficiency, and thus more productivity. So if you're going to be organizing your spaces, you can also measure also again, you know, there's so many different containers available. If you need to store stuff, just measure, find the right one in the store, and you know, those really nice, cohesive, planned out, organized cabinets. Those are so fun if you want to do that for yourself. So next is tip number 5. Okay. So tip number 5 is really, it's more of an add-on. Color scheme or theme. See, so this is an add-on. It's the icing on the cake, or like sprinkles on the top, right? It's the aesthetic that sets the ambiance. So aesthetics plays an important role because it gives the overall look and feel. This is also where personal style comes into play. If the place is more you, the connection will bring out a surge of energy, which again, motivates you more. So we, after all the technicals, if you really want to step into your place and feel at home or feel, like at ease, then this is something to consider, like a paint job, or, just one coat of paint and one wall, that makes such a big difference. So like there's such a thing actually as color therapy, because colors evoke emotion. Your general feeling when you enter a space is determined by the colors that you see. So if you see, calm colors once you enter your space, I guess it just, your overall mental and well-being is at peace. So you can also be more productive there, right? So here in the slide, in relation to the floor plan that I showed you, when I moved in, we can move to the next slide. Okay, so when I moved in actually to this 31 square meter place during the pandemic, the walls were yellow. So don't get me wrong, I love yellow accents. But there was just so much yellow. In one wall it was yellow, but there was a mirror in the other wall, so it reflected the yellow. So it was like just an overwhelming yellow. I don't know, right? So I lived with it for a few weeks, and after that I said, like, no, so during the pandemic I actually decided to paint my own walls and use that color scheme I showed you in the last slide. And I made it this. So you see the before and after in the slide. And then I just added accessories to make the space more my own. And it didn't even really have to cost much because it was just really a coat of paint. And then added these accessories and just tied everything together with a color scheme. And suddenly the whole space became my work area. So it wasn't just about the desk. I could sit by the window and work there. I can sit on the bed. I could sit in the dining area. And the whole place just made me feel at home and made me want to work, or it was inspiring to work. So icing on the cake, but I feel that it does a lot to your well-being. And of course, another thing is lighting. So to add to this, lighting is, it doesn't need to be complicated. You could just get a lamp, choose whether you like warm or white light, but light up your space just because, it's not good for the eyes. And of course, when you're working, you want it to be bright, right? So I personally prefer warm bulbs. It's more homey for me, but it's really up to you on that. I know some people that can only work with white light and others like warm also. So those are the 5 tips for space saving, for more productivity. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you can maximize your space for your own benefit and be more productive and inspired to be creative. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen, for being with us. At thank you sa lahat ng mga learnings. Nakakatuwa po yung comment section natin. Talagang sabi ni Miss Tina Santiago Rangkap, it would complement naman with Gray. Talagang nanonood siya ng iyong presentation. Sabi ni Sarah Jane Agbisit, I wish I have the talent of designing things in areas. Kaya po, Miss Sarah Jane, nandito tayo para matuto tayo sa mga best practices from interior designers. Sabi ni Shida Galan, oh my God, thank you very much for this talk. O, diba? Oo naman. Tapos sabi ni Daisy J. Jane Lore, plantita rin po pala siya.
Yes.
Oo. Sabi ni
Another
AB,
here by my
oo,
side.
exactly. Punong-puno di ba? Sabi ni
Oo.
AB Ballesteros Belandres, wow, I hope I can also do that in our home. Sabi ni Sarah Jane Agbisit, wow, ang ganda. And sabi ni Sheila Galan, I really love this last tip, yung tip number 5. Ayan, thank you po sa lahat po ng mga nag-comments at sa lahat po ng mga nanonood. And now, the floor is open for our first batch of speakers. Pwede po kayo magtanong or mag-comment sa akin, kay Miss Dar, and kay Miss Jen. And ako po, may mga personal tanong ako. Unang-una, Miss Dar, ito, may katanungan ako. Di ba sinasabi nila, lahat po yung mga nanonood dito, and I think I speak in behalf of them, sinasabi nila, paano yan? May mga anxiety sa labas, may mga uncertainties. Di ba? Maski legal nang lumabas, hindi pa rin pwede kasi buhay na buhay pa rin naman ang COVID-19. So,
Correct.
kapag di ba, iba pa nga yung mga projects nila before na-cancel at ngayon nababawasan sila ng work, so on and so forth. So, anong tip mo as an entrepreneur who is moving forward with her business maski may pandemya? Ano yung tip mo sa mga creatives to stay creative maski tuloy-tuloy itong pandemya natin, Dar?
Sa akin, I think there's really that acceptance na merong heightened risk out there, and the circumstances right now have really changed. And I think parang ever since before, like even the March, April, we have to always keep on accepting na parang tanggapin natin tong bagong normal, nakakasawa pakinggan. But parang every week, every month, there's actually a new level of acceptance that we need to do. And I guess the reason for it is kung hindi natin i-accept, pero hindi tayo makakaisip ng bagong solution para sa atin. Kasi parang there will be a part of us at saying, I wish we could still go back to the past, or I wish ganito. So parang meron pang naghahang na anchor holding us back versus just moving forward. So sa akin, it's identifying, as you said, all these anxieties, and that's okay. It's important to identify it. Kasi kung hindi mo siya i-accept, mamaya bigla ka na lang sumabog, mag-breakdown ka, diba? So, you have to acknowledge this. And then, from there, after you write it down, more or less, the right answer is, you'll find it Pag you see the picture better, chances are, you know the right thing to do. You know the next
perfect.
thing.
Ayan, and a follow-up question, Dar, kasi di ba, again, yung mga creatives, gusto nila merong external na stimuli, di ba? Kaya nga yung iba, nagre-retreat muna sa mga farmhouse o sa probinsya, o kaya naman nagbe-beach para maging inspired. How do you stay inspired and motivated and goal setter pa rin, and nakaka-reach ng mga objectives, maski naka-work from home? What do you think, Dar?
For me naman, I think I learned this also from Alessa. Sorry, change layout. Hindi yun napalit tayo kanina, sorry.
Okay, go.
I learned this from Alessa. One of our speakers later on is actually that parang we find the beauty in the little things, in the everyday normal. So, kung minsan yun, diba, we were mentioning na parang we love coffee. Just finding the beauty and appreciating the small things. I think there's a lot of opportunities to look for creativity in the day-to-day things.
Oo nga naman, tama yun, di ba? Kasi nga, sinasabi nila, at napapansin natin, yung iba marami nagto-throwback doon sa life nila before, at yung iba naman looking forward to the life after this pandemic. Pero may life nga naman during the pandemic.
Right now.
Oo, right now, di ba? So, again, di ba, napaka-counter-intuitive na pwede nating i-cherish, pwede tayong mag-live now, be creative now, maski may mga challenges na gano'n. Thank you very much. That's very motivating and inspiring, Dar. And ito, Jen, may mga specific questions. Ito ay galing kay Maren Di Makulangan sa Strillo. How do I get productive when I organize the clutter, but then clutter overflows because of my family? Oo nga naman, yung ligpit ka ng ligpit, tapos pagtingin mo, nakagulo na. And just to inform everyone, the best person who can answer that is actually Miss Jen. Kasi aside from being an interior designer, she is also a mother of 4. Okay, ito sabi ni Maren, I love them so much, but I want to organize my work and to be productive. Oh, what do you think, Jen?
Well, I have to say, when the kids are around, it's just acceptance.
Mm-mm.
I mean,
Mm-mm.
fix after when they're sleeping. It's when my dog. I have a toddler. She's a year and she's almost 2 years, and then I have a toddler that's also 5 years old. And when they're with me here or wherever, wow, their things are all over the floor. I don't know what it is. They just like to make kalat and then they leave it there, and then they move on to the next row, and it's kind of hard sometimes, like to focus.
Of course.
But I think it's just trying to compartmentalize or like, okay, at a certain time, this is for me. This is what works for me. No, at a certain time when they're settling down, I will pack away their things. I have a little shelf here in the corner that's for their toys. So that was a must-have in my unit. And when I finish packing away and I put them to sleep, give them their milk, that's the time I sit down. I have my alcohol. I sit down, take a few, moments of silence, and then that's when I start working. So it's more than anything, it's really the acceptance that sometimes you can't do anything about it. You just have to work around it.
Tama.
So
Yan.
I take time in the morning, and when I wake up in the morning, I wake up earlier than them. I'm awake by 5 o'clock. That's my quiet time. I take my coffee, then I work on what I have to work on before they start waking up. And then when they wake up, that's it. It's hard to get the momentum, especially as a creative. So when I really just take the time when they're taking naps, when they go to bed, and when they're still asleep in the morning. Wala. That's
Ang
all I
ganda, ang ganda rin sinabi mo, Jen, yung learning doon, number one is to talagang accept the fact that they will do that, and you assign time for that, for them to, di ba, do the chaos around the house. And number two, nagustuhan ko yung sinabi mo, you actually find extra time for yourself. Yung tipong, di ba, extra effort, yes, pero if that's the way for you to become creative, then go ahead and do it. You wake up earlier than everyone else. Ayan. Thank you, Jen. Ito, may follow-up question galing naman kay AB Ballesteros Belandres. How can you negotiate with your partner that he thinks that the thing you purchased has a purpose pero hindi naman daw? Kuwari, ito yung tipong, paano mo raw i-renegotiate sa iyong kapartner na hindi essential to, kailangan ko talaga to. Maski siya naniniwala na hindi raw ganun ka-importante. So yun, paano ka raw makikipag-communicate na yun at ma-justify na importante talaga yung pinili mo? What do you think, Jen?
I think just stand up for your rights. No, so I think there was a time I like buying art.
Okay.
That's my luho, I think, right? Any kind of art.
Okay.
And then at one point, it was an issue. Well, not really an issue, but it was a question. Like, why are you buying? Why are you spending on that? And to me, my answer was investment. Diba? I can sell it naman one day. And for furniture pieces, you can sell it actually one day. There is a market on Facebook where you can put it out there. Of course, furniture value will be less, but it's not a total loss. And I think just really plead your case. Gusto ko to. I find it useful for me. You have your own things, so and then stand strong, right, Dar?
Yes. And then, at saka Jen and Dar and to Miss AB na nagtanong nun, di ba nga sinasabi natin kanina, buy investments, not expenses. Kasi di ba, if you buy this particular resource, may return on investment siya. If you buy this, then you become more productive, then it becomes an investment for you. Yung tipong, let's say lang for example, bumili ka ng isang table na 5,000, iisipin ng kapart mo, 5,000 talaga yan. Pero kung yung value ng table niya nakapagbigay sa'yo ng racket ng 50,000 at pataas, o di bumalik na siya ng ilang beses. Kasi nga, again, tama yung sinasabi nyo kanina, di ba, Jen, na it's a must-have versus nice to have. Hindi siya
Correct,
nice to
correct.
have. Essentially, I must have it para makapagtrabaho. Kasi yung must have, yun ang essential, yun ang investment, yung nice to have, yun ang nagiging expense. So yun,
Correct.
tama yung sinabi nyo, Jen, di
I
ba?
want
Plead
to
your case.
add
Oh,
actually
yes, Tar.
to what Jin was saying in terms of artworks and
Mhm.
parang I guess that's why we're supporting artists. Kasi
Mhm.
actually if you surround yourself with a lot of art, it actually
Yes.
inspires you to be a bit more
course.
creative. So,
Yeah.
I don't know, that's my personal philosophy.
Yeah. Oh.
And then,
Tama.
that's why, di ba, so you really, meron din tayong attraction to beautiful things.
Mhm.
Kasi the beautiful things actually inspire us to create more beauty in the world.
Yeah.
So, as you said, if that is that level, that kind, you see it as that kind of investment, good thing naman siya. Pero of course, you have to balance it with responsibility. So, mamaya, hindi na ako kakain ng isang buwan kasi
Oh.
kailangan ko bumili na ganito. Diba? So, we balance it din. Oo.
Be practical, yeah. So like for my space, I have the functional pieces. But I decided to buy, so this chair I'm sitting on, it's an accent chair. I didn't really need it, but I like the look. And in the end, like I sit here in the afternoons or in the mornings drinking my coffee.
Correct.
Tama.
Yeah, and it gives me peace. So
Exactly.
if it's really personal and you think that it will benefit your well-being, especially during this pandemic,
Mhm.
and it's practical, I mean, in terms of budget and use, then
Tama.
stand up
Yes.
for what you want. Yeah.
Exactly. Di ba sabi nga nila Jen and Dar and to everyone else, the best gift that you could give to the giver, di ba? Kuwari binigyan ka ng gift, okay naman. Pag ikaw mismong bumili nun, the best gift you can give yourself is that you use that gift. Di ba?
Yes.
Oh, nothing
I
is
agree.
more honorable kapag ka binigyan ka ng t-shirt tapos makikita yung nagbigay sa'yo, makikita niya lalagi mong suot-suot. Then ibig sabihin parang, oh my God, ang galing, ginagamit niya lagi. Di ba? As in,
Yes.
na-honor ako yung pag binigay ko, ginagamit o tuwang-tuwa siya. Di ba? Lagi nire-reuse hanggang sa masira. So, ganun din ako yun di ba? Yung tipong, isipin mo bago may bilhin, gagamitin ko ba lagi ito? Talagang, will it bring me
Correct.
peace? Will it bring me more productivity? Will it make
spark
me happy?
joy?
Oh, they will
Mhm.
spark joys.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, di ba?
Con Marie, agree.
Con Maria, di ba? Thank you. At saka, ito, this is another question for Miss Sarah Jane, Miss Sarah June Agbisit. Is it normal daw to change color schemes in every mood or season or hindi? Kailan ka ba raw dapat talaga magpalit ng kulay? What do you think?
Well, of course. Okay, that one is again budget. If you have the budget to do that, then by all means, if you're happy about it, go. But I think that it becomes a hassle if you want to keep changing color scheme in terms of paint, or you can add on accessories like
Yes.
throw pillows.
Agree.
Yes.
You can change. So
Curtains.
what you can really do is have basic or neutral colors for your base. I mean, for your big ticket, like your basic piece, like your bed, your bed sheets. Those can be neutrals, and then accessorize with the colors that you like. And if you feel like adding on for the season, like autumn, ngayon fall, diba? Fall sa so you want to have that orangey warm feel, and then you can add on your accessories for that time, just like Christmas. Then you change accessories when Christmas comes, and you can always, if you have the space, store so that the next season you can bring out again. Parang summer, ayan, makulay. Okay, so let's bring out the colorful pillows. If it works that way for you, then that would be the best. So neutral palette, add on with accessories. You can do that.
Tama, ano? O nga, so para siya laging blank canvas. Para kung
Yeah,
ano man yung mood mo,
correct.
ano man yung season, ang daling mapalitan. Tapos, again, kapag wala namang neutral naman yung season, balik ka ulit dun sa neutral palettes. O yun, thank you. Napakaganda
Yes.
nun, ha? At ito, we are going back to Miss Dar. And this is from Sarah June Agbisit ulit. Sorry. Tama. Sir Philip Ezekiel pala. And thank you. You are representing the males. Di ba? Thank you for being here. Philip, itong tanong ni Philip sa'yo, Miss Dar. When is the best time of the day to write and journal? Meron ka bang specific na idea? Ano ba raw yung best na para maging productive to sila, para magsulat, Dar?
There's this concept na each of us, so it's very individualized, na you are most productive at this time of the day. I need to remember, sorry, medyo, after giving birth, yung my memories also, but you just tap. Parang you count how many times you tap your finger. So it's like a tapping system for like 5 to 10 minutes. 5 minutes ata or 2 minutes. Tapos, you do the 2 minutes for tapping and count mo how many times.
Okay.
So, you do it at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And you will find that during your peak hours, finding your peak time yan, pinakamadaming taps physically. So, naturally, meron daw tayong ganyong peak time. So, personally, for me, my peak time is really in the morning. So, I won't dictate na parang dapat morning kayo, magising kayo maaga and write your journaling down. Because your thoughts and writing things down. Because I know a lot of people also who journal successfully at night. So, for me, sorry if it sounds like a wishy-washy answer, it actually depends on you. Kung saan yung time na you can take quiet time. Like, for me, as a mom din, hindi rin ako pwedeng in the middle of the day because it's crazy here. I have 2 toddlers, so magulo talaga yung bahay. And so, I try to do at work. Hindi ko rin kaya in between work kasi people need me. And parang ang daming interaction, ang daming meeting. So, I really need my space and the quiet time. So, that perfect time for me is actually early morning. I wake up early. Tulog pa yung mga tao. Hindi nila ako patiguluhin. And I just write things down, and that's where I plan the things that I need to do, my emotions. And another time would be, a great time would be any time that you are distraught and emotional.
Tama.
Whatever time that is, you can feel it diba? Parang naaano mo sa katawan mo You start writing things down.
Tama.
Whatever
napakaganda
time
nun, ha? Oo. Kumbaga, tama, do whatever works for you. At saka, yun nga, yung recommendation na do whenever you feel like it. Tama, kasi it all depends. Depende sa'yo, di ba? Sabi nga nila, di ba, the best camera that you have is the one that you have. Di ba? Di ba, yung tipong the best pen that you could ever own is the one that you have. Kumbaga, you maximize whatever you have right now. Di ba? At thank you, Crazy About Paper, at binibigyan mo kami ng pagkakataon maging productive. And this last question goes to Jen. Ito, medyo may hugot. Ito yata si Miss Daisy Jane. Lord, thank you, ha. In setting boundaries daw, should we... in setting boundaries, should we consider relationship over our ideals? What do you think, Jen?
In setting boundaries, should we consider relationship over ideals?
Hindi kasi tama, challenge yan. Kasi when you are, di ba, occupying the same space as someone else, di ba, syempre, may mga bagay siyang ayaw, tapos ikaw gusto mo, paano nga ba raw yun, Jen?
So, it's like how to compromise.
Yes, I think.
Compromise, right? You should consider your relationship. But you also have to find the balance. Like what Dar was saying, you have to set boundaries, because if you keep giving naman to your partner, what will be left of you? You won't also be productive, right? So I think you give a little bit, and then he or she has to give also a little bit, and you meet halfway. And it has to be that way, because in terms of space, right? You take one side, the other one takes the other side, or one at a certain time, this is my workspace, at a certain time, it also depends on what you're working with, right? But there has to be a give and take. You can't keep giving, your partner can't keep giving, because you're gonna end up also becoming burnt out and defeat the goal of being productive, creative, and inspired. Yes. So find that balance, and find what works. Sometimes there's a little bit more giving in one side, a little bit more, but and usually people have different times, right? Like Dar was saying, some journal in the morning, some at night, some find inspiration in the morning, some in the afternoon. So talk, communicate,
Agree.
communicate, and really understand what the other needs, in terms of space and time. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yes.
Aba,
agree.
thank you. So, nagtanong po kanina si Miss June, makipag-usap ka raw sa jowawa mo para, 'di ba?
Conversation.
Mailaban mo yung mga gusto mong ipasok at saka yung
yeah,
mga gusto mong bilhin.
communication.
Oh,
Diba?
communication.
Yes,
There.
communication.
So,
At
master of communication.
exactly. Kasi makikita natin, again, before we move forward with our next session, ang isa sa mga difficulties natin, mga challenges right now, di ba, dahil wala tayong mga offices, we are sharing our house with someone else. Hindi lang yung kapartner mo, minsan pati yung pamilya ng asawa mo eh. Di ba? Mga in-law. Di ba? Mga pinsan na nakikitira dahil wala rin silang mga opisina o kaya naman na-stuck sila from the community quarantine, so on and so forth. So you share a lot of rooms and areas with other people. And sometimes, minsan, ikaw yung on the losing end, yung tipong ikaw yung nakikitira. Di ba? So ang hirap mag-push ng mga items, lalo na kung nakikitira ka sa mga in-laws mo or nakikitira ka sa mga kamag-anak mo, Jen, di ba?
Yeah, so I actually have, like, for example, one evening, I also like to journal. It's part of my inspirational. I like finding motivation through journaling. No?
Yeah.
So here I have my son. He stays with me the whole week. Yeah, and we have to share the space. We don't have a lot of desk space. So usually when he has class, he stays in one area. I stay in the other. Sometimes we trade. Ikaw naman dito, ako naman dyan, or. But there was a night I had to be alone. Like, it was just an overwhelming. I was just overwhelmed with so much stuff. So, and of course, you don't even want to kick out. I can't even say get out. Of course, he's younger than me. So I had to be the one to go down to a common area, bring my journal or whatever I had to work on, and sit there by myself. And that was my compromise. You have to work around it. So I went down. And then after that, it took an hour. Then after that, I was back up. And then again, I'll stay here. You work naman there. But it really has to be a give and take.
Yes,
for both.
agree, sobra.
Tama. Exactly.
Or
And
go to the
let me just
garden.
Tama, give and take nga naman, no? At saka, lalong-lalo na, di ba, sa lahat ng may mga kapatid, and when you are still living with your parents, at saka kasama mo pa rin yung mga kapatid mo, di ba?
Yeah.
Yung minsan, ikaw yung nanonood ng TV buong week, ako naman. Diba? Okay naman, tatlo kayo magkakapatid, pero dalawa lang yung controller ng PS. Diba? Ganyan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ikaw na nga last week, ako naman. So, give and take to. And of course,
Yeah.
gaya na sinabi nyo kanina, Dar and Jen, may compromise. You have to communicate.
Yes.
O, di ba? Hindi pwedeng yung ilalaban mo lang kung yung gusto mo. Pero of course, you have to talk to them. At ito, last comment before we move forward, sabi ni Jane Rodriguez, I agree with Miss Dar about being practical. Maybe you need it, but basic needs should always go first. Yes, agree. Thank you, ha? And now, again, as we end, palakpakan po natin our guests. Okay, thank you, Jen, interior designer
Thank
and
you.
entrepreneur. Jen, please invite naman all the viewers here sa iyong socials para we could still communicate with you and ask for advice. And kapag kailangan namin ng interior design consultancy, we know where to contact you, Jen.
Yes, so it's there. You can contact me through my Instagram at @jinpan_jinpan and at design by details. So actually, there's anyway, if you go to Jinpan, you'll be able to direct to my other Instagram account. So if you have questions, just contact me there.
Okay.
And send
Thank
me a
you. Yan. All right. Slide into her DM. So yan.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. And now, please stay
Thank
there,
you.
Miss Dar. And we will be calling on another personality to join Miss Dar. At ito po ay isang surface pattern designer and maker of handmade watercolors and a creative consultant. Palakpakan natin, Alessandra Lanot.
Yay!
Thank you. Thanks, PJ. Hello, everyone. Hi, Dar. Okay, so before
Hi.
before we go to the next talk, Dara and I would just like to share with you some exciting things. So, first of all, thank you for being with us today. This is one of On Demand is one of the events for Design Week Philippines this year, and they have about a dozen other events happening from October 19 to 25. So please do check out the Design Center of the Philippines, DTI Design Center of the Philippines Facebook page, and Design Center of the and Design Week Facebook page also. So make sure you join. There are so many free workshops. I'm also teaching another free workshop for watercolor journals on October 22. So head over to their page to register. Okay, so we're here to talk about Crazy About Paper. Sige, Dar, I'll leave it to you.
So so thank you everyone for staying on and staying with us since 2 p.m. kanina. And we're so excited to be able to share with you the Crazy About Paper. I think some of you may know about the Crazy About Paper. It's really an e-commerce marketplace for paper lovers. So as Alessa shared earlier, parang Crazy About Paper, and I think PJ mentioned about it, is that where we actually sell a lot of the planners that we produce under Viviamo. But the vision for Crazy About Paper is actually so much more. It's really the marketplace we want for paper products, productivity tools, lifestyle goods featuring and designs by independent Filipino artists. And that's why it was perfect for us to be able to partner with Design Week. So na-mention nga ni Miss Rhea na it's very important that we work together at this time and find different ways or different sources of income. So Crazy About Paper, our vision here is to elevate into a global marketplace, the Filipino artists. And our mission is to help users naman, so the artists, we want to give them an opportunity to be able to showcase their art in terms of merchandise. Kasi, as sabi rin ni Jin earlier, di ba, Ale, na kailangan syempre may functionality and
Yes.
design.
Yes.
So, it's one of the beliefs that Alessa and I would share. And Alessa is our creative director. So,
Yes.
that's
So
why
I'm with Crazy About Paper and helping put together the planner accessories for our new collection, which we'll be showing you in a bit. So basically, our goal is really to help people be more productive and creative at the same time.
Yes.
So parang they help out each other. And so as Dar mentioned, we have planners and productivity tools on the site. And we also are launching today on the website. If you check out crazyaboutpaper.com, you will see our new artist merch. So these
yes.
are artworks printed on merchandise, like throw pillows, greeting cards. We have coasters, tote bags, placemats. We have wallpaper. You can order wallpaper for your houses and decorate your accent walls, and add a pop of color there. And we also have postcards and acrylic trays. So this is our first batch of products with our first batch of artists. And we would like to also invite you to visit our page if you are a creative and you would like to sell your art on merchandise without any production costs, basically, without shelling
Yes.
out for production. This is Crazy About Paper's way of helping out artists, especially during this time. So we want artists to have an extra revenue stream, so that it can alleviate whatever revenue stream was lost during the pandemic, diba?
Mm-hmm.
So
So,
it's a way to express artists' creativity and create products with the artist designs, and also for us to purchase and have more access to the products of these artists.
yes.
Um, it's really an exciting project. So check out crazyaboutpaper.com. So if you're interested to be part of our community of artists, again, Crazy About Paper can help showcase your work. And what we do is we take care of the production. So all you have to do is upload your design, and we will take care of the production and manufacturing and even shipping to the customer. And your the creatives who are watching here are all invited to be a part of our community of artists.
So we're so excited to be able to share with you guys today the crazyaboutpaper.com artist merchandise, artist collaborations that is live now in the website. So everyone watching us today, please come check out the site and check out the merchandise. And we want to open up our artists that parang who wants to share their art nga na to reach a broader market. So this is why we expanded from Viviamo so that we can promote also artists' work to our community of users. And then our big goal, our big vision is to bring this, of course, the Filipino artist into a global stage. So thank you guys
Thank you. Okay.
for saying we will
All
bring
right.
back
I'll
our
head.
host. Tama ba?
I'll head on na to my talk. Ako na yung
Okay,
next.
so yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Dar. See you later. Okay. So, my talk for this afternoon is productive promotions. Um, why do I call it productive promotions? I guess it's because it's promotions that work for you. And these are promotion tips that can be integrated into your workflow. So, before anything else, I'd like to say hello to everyone watching here and happy Anniv. I think 200 happy Anniv sa lockdown. Parang 200 plus days na tayo in lockdown, right? And just curious, were you guys able to rest during this pandemic? Especially dun sa mga creatives, those who work in creative jobs or any job. Nakapagpahinga ba kayo this pandemic? And please type in your answers, ha? And second, are you guys ready to work already? I guess that would be that's another thing I want to know. Ready na ba kayo mag-work? And ready na ba kayo maghanap ng trabaho? Dun sa mga nagwo-work as creatives dito, are you guys ready to work? Yes. Okay, dami. Yes. Okay. No, not yet. Hindi pa ready. Okay lang kung hindi pa ready. Okay. I'm working. Yes. Ready. Okay. So again, my name is Alessa Lanot and I'm the artist behind lifeafterbreakfast.ph. Online, that's my online name. And I'm a surface pattern designer and a maker of handmade watercolor tools. So actually, when this pandemic started, the first thing that I did was sit down and check. Nung nag-lockdown ng March, I stopped and reflected muna. What are the things that I have now? What are the things that I still have with me right now? What are the things that I can still maximize? What can I sell? What can I earn from? Ano yung meron pa ako? Like, dun sa earlier talk ni PJ kanina, like, ano yung the 10 things that I still had that I could utilize to be able to keep moving forward. Kasi, diba, as designers, well, I work as a surface pattern designer and most of my clients are are retail brands, actually, retail, manufacturing. So, as designers, most of our clients are in that industry, in those industries, retail, food, their corporations. But because everything was closed, I had to find clients who were willing to stay active, at least online. So, check ko, parang, sino ba yung mga nagpo-post dyan, yung mga brands that are still posting right now, even if naka-lockdown. You'll be able to see who are the active people, who the people are, who are the active people online. They're probably the ones who are still, continuing on with work, even if it's work from home. So, during that time, I was in talks with maybe about 4 clients, past clients, current clients, and potential clients. I was talking to 4 people. But later on, so we were discussing already, drawing out plans, meron kaming mga concept, mga ideas. When I look back, only 1 out of those 4 clients pushed through with their project. Yung iba parang nag-shift, we decided not to do this anymore, or we decided to cancel the project altogether. So merong shifts in that first month. And I thought, okay, so I talked to 4 clients, but only 1 project really pushed through. So maybe, parang based on that, I said, maybe there is a 25% rate of work pushing through now. So yung 75%, sorry, wala talaga yun, walang chance. Pero it made me realize also na if I only talk to 1 client at a time, I might not even get that 1 client. So I really had to, put more effort into landing 1 client kasi nga 1 out of 4 lang nung time na yon. So that was my experience during the earlier part of the pandemic. And actually throughout, I don't think I really stopped. I took breaks and, I enjoyed my time at home. But I'm the type of person kasi na parang, uy, may free time. Okay, let's work on passion projects. So, or let's, think of new things that we can do with the time. So, throughout the season, the pandemic season, I combined some tips that I use myself to find work, and I hope that they'll be able to help you also. Okay, so my first tip is proof of work, not proof of life, proof of work. Question again to everyone here. When was the last time you posted on your social media feeds? Or when was the last time you updated your portfolio, your website? If you are able to take on work now, so let's assume that you are ready, you're mentally ready, you are capable to take on work right now and work from home. Do your clients know that you're open, diba? Do your clients know that you're accepting work right now? Kasi you have to make sure that they know that the lights are on. The clients can see, oh, bukas ang ilaw dyan sa kanila, may tao, may nagtatrabaho, okay? So people have to, your potential clients should know, or even the past clients should know that you're able to accept work. And how do you do this? So you don't have to post every day. You don't have to post a new type of work every day, okay? And it doesn't even have to be recent work. So you can post even your old projects and just find a way to connect it to the story of your current life or your present day. You just have to show that your business is moving. Even if it's just tidying up things. Oh, I found this old artwork. I was cleaning my room. I found this old artwork. Snap. Tapos share. Look at this project that I did before. Okay, so people just have to see that the wheels are turning, the lights are on, na may movement dun sa business mo, sa creative business mo. One example is I posted an old artwork, maybe 2 years old na artwork on my feed kasi I saw that the client used it for packaging design. So I said, hey, look, I saw this on my feed, and this is a project that I did before. Just told the story about how I liked working on this project, what are the things that I liked about it. I love the product, stuff like that. So by posting that, immediately I got 2 inquiries for design work. Na parang, hey, I saw your project like this. I'd like to work on something like that for my brand. Can I have your packages? Are you open? Or then it's the next step na, diba? You get that inquiry already. They're already 1 foot in to your design business. So the next is, of course, to follow up and to proceed with your work, your design process already. Okay, and then it's just as simple as putting out the work that you want to create. Okay, it's just as simple as that. If kunwari, you have old artwork, tapos you don't want to be hired for that same project, eh, wag mo na i-post, di ba? Tago mo na lang dun sa album mo or sa, sa mga boxes mo dyan. You don't have to promote it if you don't want to be known for it, okay? So, again, make sure that your clients know that you are able to accept work by showing your proof of work, whether it's recent work or whether it's current work, okay? Another example is sometimes when I'm sending out naman, kunwari for retail naman, I'm sending out my watercolor orders. I just take a picture, post it on stories, and say these sending out these orders today. Yung mga ganong updates on the back end of your business, and when that's already promotions, and it's part of your everyday life as a small business, diba? It's part of your everyday work, but you sort of like try to integrate it into the promotions aspect. That's why I call it productive, kasi parang ginagawa mo na siya eh. Ginagawa mo na siya, might as well maximize it, diba? So just by posting a little teaser na parang sending these out today, you also get leads to new orders by doing that. Because people see, again, that there's movement. There's movement here, di ba? Papasok ka ba sa isang, kunwari, nasa mall tayo, papasok ka ba sa store na madilim, di ba? Or yung makulimlim yung ilaw, or minsan nga, mapapapasok ka lang sa store kasi ang daming tao eh, di ba? Ano bang binibenta dyan? Parang patingin nga, ano bang meron dyan sa store na yan? Kasi parang nagkukumpulan yung mga tao doon, di ba? So something like that. You just need movement. You just need to show movement. Okay? Next step is email after e-meet. So, alam naman natin ngayon, PM. PM is key. Di ba? PM is key. So, we have so many Zoom meetings right now. We have so many online get-togethers, Zoom parties. So, first of all, when people ask you what you've been up to and how you are, kunwari, matagal mo talaga silang di nakikita, and let's say you're really out there, looking for work, tell them, take that chance, take that opportunity to tell them what you've been doing in your design work, and try to share. It's not even selling, it's just sharing what you can do. There's a difference. Selling is when maybe it's too hard, it's pushing, but when they ask you and you reply sincerely with something that you are able to do or something that you are already doing and are capable of doing, it's just putting yourself out there. It's not forcing them to take. It's not forcing them to take what you're putting out. Okay, you're just putting it out there in case there are any takers. Okay, so when you're also another tip, when you're in these online meetings and you find people and you meet people who could be doing different things from you, but sometimes these connections spark ideas. Lalo na, di ba, tagal-tagal na natin dito sa bahay, naka-lockdown, wala tayong ibang kausap, pare-pareho lang yung kausap natin. So, the new connections, new conversations, they spark ideas. Take notes of people, take notes mo, ano ulit yung sinabi niya, saan siya nagwo-work ulit? How do you pronounce their name? So take those little notes. And then if something sparks, research on their company, on their products, on their services, and then after the email, after the meeting, after the online meeting, get in touch with them through email. And it's important that you do that through email because it is private. Therefore, it feels more sincere. Think of it, and when you go into that email, you don't just say, hi, I was the one you met in chat. Go in with an idea, especially if you're working with a brand. Kunwari, it's a potential client. Come in with an idea already. Hindi yung parang tulala kayo pareho na parang mangyayari yan, parang small talk lang siya na, oh, chika lang, hi, ako nga pala, I do this nga pala, ganyan. No, come in with an idea. Think about a solution that they could need from your services. Okay? So, email after e-meet. Make sure to parang have that open up that connection so that you can collaborate with other people also. Okay. Third tip is to tidy up your online home. So kanina, ang tip ni Jin was to tidy up your home and to declutter and to remove the unnecessary things that you don't need to make space. So tidy up your online home. Make sure that people know where to find you. And that when they find you, your information is updated there also. So take this time now, if you have downtime, to update your website, to update your portfolio, and even update your design packages. Kasi yung iba, yung design packages noon, baka wala na, hindi na pwede ngayon. Like, for example, yung design packages ko for my watercolor workshops before, wala. I had to redo everything and make it fit to online workshops. So, update all your packages, your inclusions, and check where do your customers go? Where do you lead your customers when they go to your website? Does your website say hire me? I mean, does it give that feeling that you are hireable? Where does the customer go? 'Di ba? Parang make sure that your journey for your customer is clear for them. When you put out a post, sabi nga nila, 'di ba, when sa Instagram ngayon, when you're posting something to sell, ilagay mo na kung magkano. Wag na yung parang paarte pa na kunwari hindi ka pa nagsisell ba siya, hindi ba siya nagsisell? Parang hindi mo alam ano gusto niya. If you're selling, sell. Parang people don't have time anymore to guess. Is she selling or not? Parang ganyan. So, make sure that your customer knows where to go. Okay? Your customer and your clients. And so your website now will be the new business card. Okay? It's your new catalog and your way for clients to know that you are open, and it's a way for clients to know that you are this is what you do and you are good at it. So put everything there. Make sure you have your own online home. Okay? Show them a home that represents you. Make sure that your home is something that represents you and your brand well. Okay. Next tip is give a gift. Okay. So ito, I think out of all my tips, ito na yung pinaka medyo may effort na ng konti. But again, if you already have your products, retail products, it could be a sample of your products that you could give, or even less effort than that, it could be a promo code. It could be a special discount for your services right now. So it's nice if you can surprise your old and potential clients with a gift that best represents your brand and what you do. So it's, 'di ba, parang it's always a treat pag may, 'di ba, pag may delivery diyan ng Shopee, Lazada, parang feeling mo birthday mo lagi, 'di ba? It's a nice feeling na merong makatanggap ng something that's addressed to you, na parang yun, 'di ba? Para sa iyo talaga siya. And people will always remember how you made them feel. So what you want to do is, give a gift and be associated with that as a thoughtful gesture. And actually, even if you don't, even if it's just a small gift, diba? The fact that you thought about the person, or pag ikaw naisip ka ng ibang tao, that's already enough, diba? That's already a gesture in itself. Na, uy, thanks, naisip mo ko. So you have to remember that clients are people, and people have feelings, diba? And people have a lot of feelings, especially now. Ang daming feelings ng lahat. And that gift could be that small gesture is definitely going to make someone smile. Again, it could be a sample of your product, a promo code, a special discount that's happening right now, ganyan. And even a handwritten note, diba? Like it could just be as simple as that, or an email, diba? There are different ways to present this gift. It could also be, for the creatives out there, it could be a free download, diba? Create a free download as a gift, give it as a present, and use it to promote your services. It could be printables, diba? Ang daming pwede. Wallpapers, mga phone wallpapers, ganyan. Super easy for creatives to do that. And it's something that a lot of people could appreciate. Okay? Aside from your clients, who else can you give gifts to? Give a gift to that person who referred you to your latest client, 'di ba? Bigyan mo ng regalo, pasalamat ka naman, 'di ba, na may nag-refer sa sa isang racket mo. Give, it's time to now is the time to show and be kind to everybody. Give a gift to that friend who listened to you when you were having a bad day, okay? Now is the time to spread the good vibes, okay? So that's tip number 4, give a gift. Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is maximize your immediate network, okay? You as a designer, you're a problem solver, okay? What there may kailangan, anong kailangan, kaya mong gawin. May leak ba yung roof, anong kailangan natin gawin, okay? You need to spot the problems around you and think of how you can be useful to the solution of that problem. Show your clients, show your potential clients why they need you, okay? Pangit ba yung logo nila? O baka pwedeng magpresenta ka na, maybe if you'd like to work on your new illustrations or your branding, you can let me know and I'll be happy to work with you. So make sure they know what you are capable of doing. Make sure that the immediate people around you know what you're capable of doing. I just took a look at my client list right now, and all my clients now are people that I already know, whether they're acquaintances or longtime friends, and a lot are actually longtime friends. The people that I work with now are friends, and well, one good thing about it is, 'di ba, ang saya magtrabaho kasi puro kaibigan mo yung kasama mo, 'di ba? And it's a happy, productive feeling that you're all contributing something to the same project, as friends and as workmates. So now, yes, it's nice to find clients in unexpected places or find clients abroad, but check first. Have you maximized your friends and family already? Check mo yung Facebook list mo. 'Di ba? Are you being in service to the people around you? Kasi 'di ba, what is sustainable? It's being able to serve your immediate community. It's being able to get resources from your immediate surroundings. So make sure that you are maximizing the people who are around you. Make sure that you are being maximized, 'di ba? Make sure na na-maximize ng mga kaibigan mo yung mga talents mo. Make sure na I'm sure yung pamilya mo maximize yung mga talents mo, 'di ba? Kulang na lang, 'di ba? Ano pang kailangan mong gawin para sa kanila? Feel ko 'yan. Dami ko hugot diyan. Pero, I love doing what I love to do. So, it doesn't feel much like work because at least I am able to be in service to the people I love, 'di ba? To the people that matter to me. So I think there's something really rewarding about that also in itself. So by maximizing and showing that you're able to work for your immediate network and your immediate community, you're able to I guess brand yourself as the person that they run to for this specific problem. You can be associated by the solution giver to this specific problem. Ay, si PJ, kailangan ko ng host. Okay, alam ko kung sino ang tatawagin ko. Kailangan ko ng motivational speaker, alam ko kung sino ang tatawagin ko. Okay. Make sure that they know what you are capable of doing so that you can be in service to them para ma-maximize nila lahat ng skills and talents mo. So those are my 5 tips. Thank you all for staying on with me, and please type in your questions and we will reserve them for later after this. If you'd like to get in touch, you can message me at Life After Breakfast PH on Instagram and Facebook. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, Alessa. Question, before you go, kasi baka matabunan na sa comment section, I would just like to ask it right now in behalf of Miss Tina Santiago Rangkap. Okay lang ba na mag-tag ng client when you post their review? Or mas okay na na anonymous lang sila? Thank you. Alessa, what do you think?
If you have a close relationship with the client, I think it's okay because it is also promoting their work. Make sure lang that in your contract that you have specified there that you have the rights to promote your work as well. So make sure lang that you and make sure that there's proper timing. Kasi there's some in when you work in design, you work months ahead of the project launch, 'di ba? Production ka eh. So when you work ahead of production time, just because tapos mo na yung work mo doesn't mean you can post it already. You have to respect the client's launching dates also. So sometimes ako yung mga works ko 6 months na nakatenga, hindi ko pa ma-post kasi hindi pa nila launch ng client. So antayin mo muna na na-post sila. Although her question was regards to the feedback of the client, if they tag you, then I think social media etiquette ba yan na I guess it's okay to repost it kasi nakatag ka dun sa tag post nila.
Okay, thank you, Alessa. And for the rest of your questions, I think may mga nagka-coming in eh. Pero later we will reserve that during the last part of this second batch. Thank you, Alessa, and see you later. And now, I will be talking about educate, automate, and delegate. Ito po ay time-saving and time-maximizing workshop na gagawin natin. So at this point, sa lahat po ng mga nanonood, we are 100 plus strong. Pakilabas po ang inyong mga ballpen at saka mga notebooks. Sige po, everyone. Alessa, okay, I can handle this. Okay, thank you. Yan. All right. Okay po. So again, ipakisulat nga po sa comment section lahat po ng inyong mga trabaho, ano po yung mga IG or Instagram or Facebook pages nyo para po masuportahan natin so we could check out your work as well. At kung saan po kayo galing, we want to know. At it warms my heart na lahat po kayong nanonood dito ay nagko-connect na to each other, adding me and adding each other on Facebook and on Instagram. Nakakatawa nga meron nagkakaroon na ng mga mini threads, no? Mga discussion lifting each other up. Napakaganda. Kasi again, kanina sa earlier talk ko, 'di ba, makakatulong sa isang kapwa creative ay kapwa niya rin pong creative, 'di ba? So again, pwede kang makakuha ng potential customer, pwede kang makakuha ng potential supplier, potential friend, potential business partner, potential buyer of your work, o kaya naman potential supporter of your work. So thank you very much for all for being here. So let us know po where you're from. Ayan. Hello. Ayan, nakakatawa, di ba? So again, Ms. Tina Santiago Rangkap, thank you for that question. At si Tobit, thank you for being here as well. At sabi ni Angela Isabel, hello. At sabi ni Sarah June Agbisit, ha ha ha. At thank you. Di ba? Kita nyo, tama nga naman, meron kasing thread na nagaganap dito. They are lifting each other up. Now, again, pakilabas po ang inyong mga notebooks at mga ballpens because ito na po yung part na magkakaroon po tayo ng workshop. Magtatrabaho po tayo right now. Kasi again, we are going to be talking about time. Di ba nga, sabi ko kanina sa aking earlier talk, kung ano yung pinaka-immediate, yun usually ang nagagawa. Kasi yun ang tinatawag na Parkinson's principle. Di ba? Kung ano yung huling inutos sa inyo, more or less yun yung una mong gagawin dahil may deadline. At ito po, pag gagawin ko po sa inyo itong workshop na ito, right now, we will all do this at the same time. Kasi pag sinabi mong, mamaya ko gagawin, ang tendency niyan, and I'm sure, ay hindi mo gagawin yan. O kita nyo, you are staying on with me for the last 2 hours. Imagine, kapag papanoorin mo lang to ng replay, I kid you not, and you are just kidding yourselves as well. Papanoorin nyo po ba ang isang replay na 2 to 3 hours long like this? Di ba? Hindi. So let's all do this at the same time. So again, pakilabas po ang mga notebooks at mga ballpens. Pakilabas po yung mga Viviamo or Crazy About Paper or BDJ na inyong mga notebooks at ballpens. Kasi po, at this point, magsulat po ng 20 tasks that you have to do in the next 7 days. It has to be personal, it can be a professional work. Basta po, task yan. Yung tipong magbabayad ng Meralco, o kaya naman taking out the dog for a poo, ganyan. So, okay naman yung tipong kailangan mo mag-laundry or may kailangan kang deadline. 20 tasks that you have to accomplish within the next 7 days. So, I'll give you po 1 minute to do all that. Go. Sige po. At sa inyo po mga nakaka-tune in lang, thank you for being here. This is Design Week Philippines. At salamat po sa Design Center. At ito po ay in partnership with Crazy About Paper. And we have heard Miss Dar of Crazy About Paper, si Miss Jin na interior designer, and si Alessa Lanot and myself. And later po, i-announce ko ang ating last speaker. So again, I'm asking all of you to write down 20 tasks that you have to accomplish in the next 7 days. Sige po, go. So kasi po, ulit, ito na po yung part na workshop po tayo. Alright. So again, I would like to thank all of you kasi pinopost nyo po ang inyong mga Instagram and Facebook pages so we could follow and check out what you're doing. At sabi nga ni Sarah June Agbisit, Sir PJ Lanot, love mo po ako. Dahil dyan, I will give you a gift soonest. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay po. So now, I would like to ask the tech, ano pong gagawin natin dun sa 20 tasks that we have to accomplish in the next 7 days? Ang gagawin po natin, hahati-hatiin po natin to into smaller pieces. Kasi nga po, eto, I'm sure, and I'd just like to ask, sino po dito ang nasa-stress dahil alam niyang marami siyang kailangang gawin? Pero ang matindi, hindi niya alam kung paano niya gagawin. Okay? Ang gagawin natin, hahati-hatiin natin into smaller pieces para mas maging manageable siya for all of us. Okay. So at this point, ang ituturo ko po sa inyo ay yung tinatawag na Eisenhower Matrix. Now, pakisulat nga po sa green box. Can you please enlarge, Tech? Can you please write down from the 20 tasks that you have to accomplish in the next 7 days, pakilipat po sa green box yung mga immediate po, yung mga importante at due po in the next 3 days. Go. Pakilipat po sa green box. Thank you. And I will give you 30 seconds to do that. Mga importante muna ha, and due in the next 3 days. Important meaning deadline for work. Yung talagang mararamdaman nyo pag na-miss nyo. Ito. And again, I would like to thank all of you from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Thank you for being here. And again, tinuro ko po kanina yung tinuturo ko po ngayon ang Eisenhower Matrix at kanina po ay yung Parkinson's Principle. Ibig sabihin, the more urgent, the more that you will, the tendency is bigger for you to do. Kaya po nagiging last in, first out. At ngayon, i-organize natin yan into Eisenhower Matrix. Okay po. So now, pakisulat naman po sa orange box ang mga due in the next 3 days pero hindi ganun ka-importante like the first. Ano-ano ang mga example ng nasa orange? Ito po yung paying the Meralco bill. Of course, it's important but not as important as the deadlines that you have for work. Ano pa? Yung tipong paying the internet bill. Okay naman, doing the laundry. Of course, importante yan. Pero not as important as the first. Urgent, kasi bakit? Pwede kang maputulan. Sana hindi naman. Okay naman, pwede kang maputulan ng internet. No? Okay naman, pwedeng mag-recycle ka na ng damit dahil hindi ka nakapag-laundry, so on and so forth. So again, ito pong unang pinagawa ko sa inyo ay due within the next 3 days. Okay. And since you are done, and I'm checking out the comment section, thank you po and hi sa inyong lahat from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Now, out of the 20 na sinulat nyo po sa list na yon, isulat naman po sa blue box ang mga important things that you have to do pero due pa in the next 4 days and beyond. Go. So kumbaga kanina, yung green box, important pero ang deadline niya within the next 3 days. Ito naman po, 4 days to the 7th day. Pakilipat po dyan. Importante ha. Ito yung mga due sa inyong trabaho. Pero hindi pa naman agad-agad in the 4th day onwards pala. Okay? Kung ano naman po yung natira sa inyong 20 lists, pakisulat nga po dun sa ating pale red or dark orange na box. Ito po yung mga less important things, but not so urgent kasi 4 days to the 7th day pa siya due. So again, importante po na inaisulat nyo muna beforehand ang 20 tasks nyo which are due within the next 7 days. And again, ang tawag po dito sa ginagawa natin ay ang Eisenhower matrix. At mamaya po i-explain ko kung paano po natin gagawin ito. And I think everyone is ready. Okay po, Tech, can you please move forward? Thank you. Next slide, please. Okay. So, ang gagawin natin, sa lahat po ng mga nakasulat sa green, sa orange, sa blue, at sa dark orange na yan, please make po a specific deadline kung kailan nyo siya eksaktong gagawin. Go! So yun po muna ang una natin gagawin. Let's set deadlines for each of the items na nakasulat sa green box, sa orange box, sa blue box, at sa dark orange box. And now, nanilagyan nyo po ng specific date kung kailan nyo po gagawin, rearrange naman po siya in terms of priority per box. Ano yung dapat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so on. Sa green box, ganun po. I-prioritize nyo po siya in terms of numbers. Sa orange box, sa blue box, at sa red box. Go! Again, ayusin nyo po siya in terms of deadline or due date o kailan nyo or start date. Go. Kung sino po yung pinakauna, dapat siya yung 1. Kung sino yung pinakahuli, siya po yung dulo. Go, let's do this. And again, I would like to announce sa lahat po ng mga nag-pre-register, you have a chance to win the raffle prize from Crazy About Paper. So thank you po for signing in. At again, makinig lang po tayo sa mga announcements from Crazy About Paper sa mga promos nila para sa ating mga nanonood dito. Thank you. And you may have a special discount. So please don't forget to check your emails sa lahat po na nag-pre-register. Okay po. So at this point, naisulat nyo na po at inailagay nyo rin po sa kapwa mga boxes, sa green, sa blue, sa orange at sa dark orange ang inyong mga kailangan gawin. At nilagay nyo na rin po ng deadline at nilagay nyo na rin po ng number of priority. Ngayon, anong advice natin para dyan? Next slide please. Thank you. Yan. Ang mga nasa green po na box, yan ang mga dapat natin gawin agad-agad. Ang dapat natin gawin, dapat 1 first. And do not move to the second hanggat hindi tapos ang number 1. And do not move to number 3 hanggat hindi tapos yung number 2. So on and so forth. Kasi po, ano po ang nangyayari sa atin? Sometimes, we are not productive, pero pagod tayo. Pero bakit ganon? Kasi minsan, nauuna ang mga hindi naman importante. Yung mga non-urgent, inuuna. Kasi po, sa totoo lang, lalong-lalo na tayo mga creatives, iniisip natin at ginigauge natin minsan ang ating productivity sa ating pagod level. Yung tipong, oh my God, ang dami ko natapos ngayon. Pero ang tanong, was it urgent? Was it important? Kailangan mo ba talagang gawin yan? At napapansin niyo po ba, minsan, marami kang deadlines, pero anong unang ginawa mo para you feel productive? Naglinis ng gamit, nag-organize ng files, naglinis ng kwarto. Pagod na pagod ka. Ano sasabihin mo? Oh my God, ang dami ko natapos. Pero ang tanong, natapos mo ba yung mga kailangan mong tapusin agad? So again, this helps you to prioritize what is important and what is indeed urgent. Now, in terms of priority, sa tingin nyo, anong kailangan box na kailangan tapusin agad? Is it blue or is it the orange? Ang tamang sagot po, ang kailangan nyong gawin after green is orange. Kasi bakit? Maski hindi siya ganun kaimportante, ay urgent pa rin siya. Pero dito pumapasok ang advice natin. Dahil urgent siya and it can probably take much of your time, ano po yung advice natin? Several things. Number 1, pag-isipan nyo po, is there a way that you can delegate that work to someone else? Pwede nyo po bang iutos na lang para hindi na kayo yung gumawa? Pwede bang i-assign nyo na lang sa isang tao, sa isang kamag-anak, sa isang someone para reserved ang inyong time at reserved ang inyong energy? Kung hindi naman po kayang i-delegate, what do you think? Is there a way that you can automate? Dito po pumapasok ang pagbabayad ng bills. Kasi hindi nyo na kailangan magbayad. Kasi di ba, sinasabi nga nila, yung pagbubukas pa lang ng BPI na app, yung BDO na app, mabilis lang naman siya. Pero yung hassle na i-input mo pa yung account name, yung QR code, yung password, maghihintay ka pa ng OTP, ng password pa ulit, confirmation, matagal eh. At saka minsan nakaka-stress. So is there a way that you can automate, i-schedule mo na lang yung mga payments mo para you just forget about it? And meron po bang paraan that you educate your clients? Ano ibig sabihin ng educate? Minsan po, lalong-lalo na sa mga online sellers dito, this oras na ng gabi, patulog ka na, biglang may inquiry, anong gagawin mo? Sasagutin mo. Pero pwede namang i-educate. Pwede mo naman sabihin sa kanila to manage their expectations. Pwede namang sabihin mo, I can only answer calls or messages during these times and during these dates. Para maski mag-message sila, alam nila ngayon kung kailan mo talaga sila babalikan. So again, it's time for you to delegate things, to automate things, and maybe to educate your clients. So again, ang una natin kailangan gawin, tapusin ang lahat ng nasa green. At pangalawang gagawin ay ang nasa orange. And again, wag po kayo mag-move sa orange nang hindi tapos lahat ang nasa green. Ang susunod po natin kailangan gawin ay ang nasa blue. And muli, bawal po kayo mag-move sa number 2 hanggat hindi tapos ang number 1. Bawal kayo mag-move sa number 3 nang hindi tapos ang number 2, so on and so forth. So again, ito po mga nasa blue, kalimutan nyo na, ilista nyo lang muna at kalimutan nyo because ang advice dyan is to do it later. And for everything else that you put na doon sa natitira nating box, nasa dark orange, anong sinasabi dyan? Tsugihin na yan, kebs na yan, eliminate. As much as possible, ito yung mga tinatawag na time wasters. At usually, ito yung mga nauuna paminsan-minsan, kaya we waste a lot of time. So again, ang kailangan po natin gawin, write down a list every single week, every 7 days, at i-organize po natin dito sa ating Eisenhower matrix. Okay po, next slide please. Thank you. Okay, yan. Okay po. Thank you very much. Ako po si PJ Lanot and that is one way on how to prioritize and how to maximize our time. And at this point, ipapakilala ko na po sa inyo ang ating last speaker who will sum it all up. At ako po personally makikinig dahil marami siyang tips on how to be productive during this pandemic. At ito po, testimonial ko ito. Itong last speaker natin, maski ano mangyari sa kanya, laging productive. Kaya minsan, ayoko siyang co-work kasi nakaka-pressure yung productivity niya. And if there's anyone I will listen to about productivity, it is this person. Our next speaker is a handwritten font designer, creative consultant, and certified human resources professional. None other than Mix Fonts herself, Miss Mikko Sumulong.
PJ. Super funny, but yes, productive days. Thank you. Sige. Thank you. I guess the great thing about me being the last person in this roster is I'll be summarizing everything that we learned today from everybody. So let me allow myself to introduce myself. Sorry. I'm Mikko Sumulong. As PJ mentioned, I'm a handwritten font designer, crafter, maker, creative consultant, resource person, web designer, Oracle decorator, personal assistant to my parents, and professionally a certified human resources professional. I actually hate when people ask me to introduce myself and describe what I do. Kasi nga ang dami. So, now doing all of those together to complete what I would refer to as a full-time job, it has become a necessity for me to figure out how to make everything work seamlessly. Also having worked in the US for a decade or so, every minute of my workday has to be optimal. There's no such thing as chica time in the States, so I have learned to really be productive. Actually, I'd like to call this section not just tools for productivity, but also tools for efficiency. We have this idea that busy means productive, when busy might actually actually mean you are not productive, you are not efficient, and that you have not streamlined or simplified your work. You've probably read a lot of things about productivity, and unlike all of those articles that you've read, I'm here to tell you na the tools and tips that I am going to give you are not things that you should do, but things that you can do. I'll also recommend some great apps that can boost your efficiency. But I'll give you the ideas or the concepts behind each of those apps, because the best tools for you might not even be apps, but instead analog tools. So let's start. First tip number 1. Determine your personal work and productivity style. So what does that mean? You need to determine your triggers. What are your distractions? What are the buttons that you have? Productivity tips are not, I would never say do this or that, because it's not a one-size-fits-all thing at all. We are all different people. We work in different ways. Our brains operate totally differently. One thing I would recommend is to take a quiz by an online site. Go to carsontate.com. You can message me also. She has a productivity styles quiz, which lets you determine whether you're a prioritizer, analyzer, planner, or visualizer. So these are just 4 productivity styles that she has categorized for every single person in the world, any person who works. Under this idea and concept, planners need a linear, date-based structure of activities. So for them, a calendar works. For a visualizer, they need some pretty picture. So actually, a Pinterest board or a cork board on their desk would work. For a prioritizer, which is me, all I need is a scratch paper with list of things to do that I can throw away later. So the idea behind determining your personal work and productivity style is that you get to know yourself. There's actually a study that shows that for people who love coffee, so non-tea people, just the idea or the scent of coffee will make them more productive and will wake their brain and make them more alert. So what needs to happen first before trying to be productive or efficient is to figure out what are those triggers, what distracts you, diba? If you're a visual person, you don't want a messy desk. If you're an auditory person, you can't watch Netflix while working. Some apps that might help you are habit tracker. And if you're a dog person, literally just clock in and out and try to figure out what you do at what time. Kanina, Dar mentioned something about your time when you're most productive to journal. And the same thing works for time. So for example, are you a night owl? Go ahead and work at night. I am not going to sit here and say, wake up at 6 a.m. to accomplish a whole lot of things if you really are not the type of person who wakes up at 6 a.m. So that's the first step. Get to know yourself. Okay? So next. So let's go on to tip number 2. Number 2 is to detail and dissect your tasks and tools. I mentioned earlier, for me, I just have a checklist. Well, not even a checklist, just a list on a piece of paper. It doesn't help anybody to just have vague tasks. So you can't say, I have to do work with this particular brand. What I suggest is to dissect them and break them down into pieces that make sense to you. Then group them and see like what is dependent on what. So for example, if you have a task where it says post on social media, right? Before that, you have to create the caption. You have to create the graphics. So you have to be able to instantly see what is dependent on what. By breaking down these tasks, you're also able to make your work more tangible. You're able to set realistic deadlines, right? One thing I recommend is if you like working with a calendar, is to, instead of setting a deadline, which we all love, but deadline is tomorrow, I'll work on it now, you should instead work with start lines. Okay, so what do I mean by a start line? you know exactly how long it takes you to complete a task. So if you know that you need to post on Facebook and create a social media post, and you know it takes you, let's say, 4 hours to complete the strategy behind it, all the graphics behind it, then you create your start line, not the deadline, right? You have to know when you need to start it, not when you're supposed to end it. Okay, so that's one of the things that I have. PJ also recommended earlier, for me, I call it the 4Ds, the Eisenhower matrix. The 4Ds for me is do, delay, delegate, and delete. Delete what you can, and make sure you work on the things that you need to do, and delay what can be delayed. I also recommend that at the end of each workday, the last task that you do before you end your workday is to revisit your calendar, revisit your checklist, revisit your to-do list, so that you can start the next day ready and ready to go. Right? You need to be able to do that at the end of your day, while everything that you accomplished, you just finished. So fresh pa siya in your mind. The next day, you're able to start anew. For this step, there are a lot of apps that you can use. So Todoist is one, Cascade, Focus, Wonderlist, the basic calendar on your phone, the checklist app on your phone. But if you're analog, it's okay to have Post-its, a whiteboard, a bullet journal, a literal calendar on your desk, whatever works for you. I mentioned earlier the different learning styles, diba? So the kinesthetic, visual, auditory. For those who are kinesthetic, having a bullet journal really works because the act of checking off something helps them with their to-dos, knowing that they've accomplished and crossed out something from their list. So again, hindi ako like as techy as I am, I have very little productivity apps on my phone. Most of my productivity tools are actually in paper and in my planner. So there. So that's tip number 2. Am I going too fast? So again, let's go to tip number 3. Okay. Tip number 3, distribute your time and energy efficiently. So this is where I say efficiency is sometimes way better than productivity. Divide your time, detach when you need to. Your time and energy is finite. Hindi siya stretch or extend. So you have to use it wisely, right? One of my first tips under here is to not normalize split time. We have to get rid of that, okay? Being late actually says that the value of your time is more important than someone else's. So if your meeting is set at 10, guys, show up before that. Show up 5 minutes before 10. Alam niyo namang may chikahan session pa yan, when you start your meeting. So try to get there early so you can get out early and actually get to the tasks that mean something to you, the things that you need to get to urgently. Let's not waste anyone's time, not yours, not theirs. If you also don't respect your own start lines, it also says that you don't respect your own time. So what does that say, diba? If you don't respect your own finite amount of time. So my tip is stick to a schedule. If you set that you're going to do something at 2 p.m., do it at 2 p.m., okay? One other thing under here is unnecessary meetings, since you already spoke about meetings. Oftentimes we hear this phrase na this could have been an email, diba? Let's normalize that. If you can instead wrap up or discuss something in an email, if there's no conversation that has to be had, try to keep things in an email. But on the same token, like flip that around, if ang emails and chat balikan na siya ng 4 times, that means something is not being communicated properly. Cut the email chatter or the chat and actually pick up the phone and give this person a call so you can further discuss it. What else? With regards to time, another thing that I recommend is for those who have short attention spans, is to number 1, it's a thing called single tasking, which is really just to not multitask. So to focus on one thing at a time. And you can do it one of two ways. One is to actually do the Pomodoro technique. So you set 15 minutes or whatever amount of time fits for you. So you just do something straight for 15 minutes, not stopping, not checking your social media, not checking your phone, not doing anything but that one task until the timer goes off. And then you're allowed to take a break. But for that given time frame, pay attention to just that one thing you decided to do. Single tasking and time blocking is another. So let's say you are a social media manager and you do graphic design for the social media, or you write the captions for different brands, just to say something. The idea of time blocking or batch tasking is to do similar tasks all at the same time. For me, super effective yan, especially now that we're in lockdown. So for example, if I need to buy supplies, I will buy all my supplies in one day. Instead of having to go out multiple times during the week, I do it all in one go. So you can treat it the same way with your tasks. If you're going to be writing, try to do all your writing in one day or in one afternoon. If you're going to be painting, then do all your painting in one go. Instead of trying to do your projects start to end, and then you just waste your effort. It's not efficient in that sense. One other thing, sorry. PJ was also mentioning something about the 4Ds, the Eisenhower matrix. When it comes to the small tasks na sinasabi ni PJ na they waste your time, the optimal time to do that is when you're on autopilot mode. So for me, not being a morning person, mornings are super not the time to talk to me. So that's when I do the autopilot, small tasks that don't require much thinking. So if I just need to update certain things on the site, like checking emails, reply, regular mindless tasks, I do all of that during that moment. During that, I call it my lull time, when my brain is still trying to wake up for other clients at the end of the day before they decide that they're done with work. So you do small tasks during that period when you are least energized. There. So some apps for this, for your time, is Toggle, Rescue Time, Focus Booster. It's an app that actually uses the Pomodoro technique online. Anything that has to do with scheduling things in advance, so you can do things in batches, like Hootsuite might be one. And your good old alarm clock or timer to give yourself the 15-minute breaks or periods that you need to work. So that's tip number 3. Let's go to tip number 4. For me, this is the most important actually. So develop a system, design one that works for you, and define it. Okay, define it. So you design first an ecosystem that works for you, given the circumstances that you are in. So sometimes it's easier for a freelancer like me to develop my own system because I don't have to think of coworkers or a boss or a corporate system. So you design an ecosystem that works for you in whatever environment that you're in. Once you have that system, define it. So kunyari, if you have a workflow na you want to design something, you want someone to take a look at it, approve it, then it goes back to you. If you want it sent through email, do you want it put on Google Drive, Dropbox, whatever is most efficient and productive for you, that's the system that you have to set up. Okay? You have to be deliberate with your work choices. Make sure na sabihin mo, you have to send it to me through Dropbox. Be consistent. Wag mong pagbigyan yung iba. So if you're an online seller, like PJ said then earlier, like if they want to say na, pwede bang ibang bank na lang kasi I can't pay through that bank, you have to be consistent. Even if, syempre, you'll give way sometimes to some clients, but for the most part, be consistent with your structure because anytime you deviate, it's actually taking away from your efficiency in your own process. You develop a system, one that works for your, it's not just, you just design a system, you also design a space that works for you. So like si Jin kanina, she mentioned that you create your sections, right? You have in your house where you have a bar section, like a station, right? Or this is your work table. So this is where this is all for work. So not only is it efficient for when you work, but it also triggers something in your brain that if you're here, now I have to work. If I'm here, now I have to design. When I'm here, I have to cut and sew. It puts you in that mode for whatever task you have to accomplish. Another thing too is to have a filing system of sorts for the projects that you're working on, whether digital or physical. So like on hold, processing, pending. Don't just lump all your projects in one space because you will never see what is outstanding and what is not. If you're a visual person, it actually helps to visually see this in stacks, even if it's on your desktop or in your computer, to actually see what needs to be done, what's already been completed. Okay. Speaking of digital files, it's always great to only have one source for your files. Final 2, final 4. I actually tell my clients that I don't send any documents through email. They have to go through Dropbox to view them, because then we're able to work on just one working document instead of passing them back and forth and not being able to track what changes have been made. Last is to develop or design a schedule that works for you. So if you're a workhorse, tip 4. If you're a workhorse, work until you're done, right? Okay lang. I mean, of course, take breaks, go to the bathroom, rest when you're tired, but don't stop it. If you can work 4 hours straight, play to your strengths, diba? Okay lang. Some people just have this thing that when they're in the zone, they just can't stop, and that's okay. If you're the type of person who needs to be rewarded, fine. Rest after you've accomplished one task. You can also define a schedule. Now, I only work mornings, I don't work in the afternoons. Again, this is if you're able to decide your own schedule. Or you can also do every other day lang ako mag-work, the other days are for play, right? It's up to you to build that system of how your work goes on within your space and how you work with other people outside of your own space. Some apps that I recommend, one of my newer favorites, although I don't personally use it, but I like working with people who do, it's Notion. Notion is, it's like having all the productivity and work apps in one, right? So you have just one stop shop. You can communicate there, you can write your tasks there, you can have your calendar there, everything. They're all in Notion. Some of the older ones are Trello, Slack, TickTick, Dropbox, Google Drive. And for analog people, it's as simple as having a filing system, a color-coded folders, which I used to do when I worked in an office, and a station system in your workspace or in your home. Yeah. So medyo, this is very important for me. You have to develop a system, and it can't be just here. Diba? Pag someone asks you what's your workflow and you can't answer it, then there's a problem. Just a sidebar. One of my biggest jobs when I was doing, I still do it, when I do HR, is to work with teams, talk to them and figure out what system they have in place. Most people don't have a manual or steps on how they work. So I create that system for them, their own workflow of how they do their business. Once they give that to me, I examine it to figure out what might be working or not. So that leads me to tip number 5. Tip number 5 is declutter your workday. Detach when needed. Reduce noise. So what things do you do na hindi na dapat? Diba? So one thing that I had before that I noticed in a workspace is that they always used to copy a certain person on the emails because yun yung sinabi sa kanilang gawin. But when I spoke to that person, I asked them what they did with the emails and they said nothing, they just delete it. So stuff like that, you need to figure out what are you doing na useless pala. Diba? You just did it because you were told to do it, or you're just so used to doing it. Declutter those steps, reduce it, remove them. Don't do things you're not supposed to. In the HR world or process improvement world, these are called non-value added activities. These are usually then repetitive tasks that could be automated. A lot of you probably sell online. So for online sellers, this might be the question, how much po, diba? And you keep answering the same question over and over and over and over. I-automate na yan. Lagay mo na yung presyo doon. You don't have to answer that question anymore, right? It's just eliminate things that can be automated. That's the beauty of tech, right? So that's first, noise. Eliminate the non-value added activities. Reuse what works. So you'll notice the same questions coming to you over and over. So whether you're an online seller or if you're creative and you always have people ask you, can you send me your portfolio? Can you send me your portfolio? Maybe the next time you email a new client, you already send your link to a portfolio, right? Do away with these repetitive things. Hindi siya kailangan. Reduce it. Or emails that send all time to them. Create a shortcut for them. My favorite that does this is called if this then that. It's on your phone and it can also be done online. So it can be as simple as, if I post a story on my blog, please share this also with my Twitter followers. Or if I send an email to PJ Lanot, please make sure to save a copy in this folder. You can create all these rules so you don't have to do it yourself. Eliminate things that can be automated. So that's the first part, right? Decluttering. Another thing pala, sorry, when you email, and this is something that I need to tell all Filipino friends or workers in the Philippines. When I first moved here, the first thing I noticed was the emails. When I email my coworkers, they always say na I'm so cold because I'm always straight to the point. Like I can email someone and say, hi, please send me the document by 5 p.m. Thanks, Mikko. And they say, wow, wala man lang pakiusap. Uy, kamusta ka na? Ganyan, ganyan. For me, it's so unnecessary. And what you actually need someone to do might get lost in what you're trying to communicate. Na, sasagot sila sa'yo, oh, last week I did this and that and this and that, when actually all you needed was a document to be sent to you by 5 p.m., right? Again, we have to normalize this. Stop with sending or communicating things at the workplace na hindi kailangan, so that it's easier to find what you need to find later on. If you talk to someone on email, be consistent and only talk to them on email. Wag yung biglang may Viber and text after that. Make things clean and streamlined and in a nice, pretty box so it's easier to look for what you need later on. For detach, it's as easy as putting your phone on airplane mode when you're in the zone. Just last week, I unsubscribed to all the unnecessary emails in my inbox. We tend to parang accept lang things that we are so used to na parang we feel like, ganun talaga, or like I have to get used to it. But there are a lot of things that you can cut off and reduce in your own systems and your day-to-day work that are actually keeping you from being not only productive, but also efficient. So for this particular tip, my apps that I would recommend is If This, Then That, Spark, Freedom, and Witty Parrot. These are some of my favorites. I've used actually before, but If This, Then That has seemed to solve all my problems. I hope my tips help you out. Just so you know, some of these tips might end up being counterproductive for you. So always test them out first. Don't just jump on a trend and then say, okay na, I like Notion, I'll start using that tomorrow. You have to see how they work with your own workflow. Yeah. Yun lang. Those are my tips. PJ?
Maraming salamat, Mikko. Aba, nakakatawa kasi maski kami, pag sinasabi mo yung app, tinitingnan ko agad yung app eh. Binibisita ko agad yung website. Parang na ano ko na mesmerize ako. Parang gusto ko na siyang gamitin lahat right now. At saka nakakatawa ka. Parang gusto kong bilhin lahat yung mga yun eh. Di ba? Syempre ayoko naman yung trial version lang. Ayoko muna yung mga free version. Muntik akong mapa-shopping nang wala sa oras eh. Diba? So, thank you very much.
For me, like, sorry, PJ, like you said, ako in your mind, personally, ako yung one of the most productive people you know. But to be honest, the only app I use of all that I've mentioned is If This Then That. That's the only app I use because that's what works for my system. So, kailangan, tayo? Yeah.
Tama.
Sorry.
Ano siya, no? Tama. Do whatever works for you. Tama. Kasi hindi naman ibig sabihin minsan pa counterproductive pa nga sa sobrang dami mong apps. Doon ka hindi nagiging productive eh.
If you spend more time creating your calendar than actually following your calendar, stop it. I mean, it's that simple.
Tama. Very good. And now we will be fielding in all these questions from our audience for Alessa, for Mikko, and myself. Okay, so number 1, sabi ni Bin Handusay, question, pag sa portfolio po, and Alessa and Mikko can answer this, both are creatives, both are in the same artistic industry. Pag sa portfolio po ba, maganda po ba na ipunin muna lahat ng work or like once nakatapos ka ng isa, lagay na agad sa portfolio? What are your thoughts, Alessa and then Mikko?
I would say, ilagay na, paunti-unti. Parang, ilagay mo na kasi it might be your recent work and it might lead to new projects. It's more productive that way, I think, because you can focus on actual work rather than focusing on getting work, diba? So you want to be productive in that sense. Na you're using your time on things that pay you as opposed to yung potential work. I mean, if you have the time, then by all means, diba, collect it, do it in one go. But if you have like just a few minutes in a day or in a week to do that, then paisa-isa is perfectly fine for me. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you. And your thoughts, Mikko?
For me, yung question is like, ipunin, like, so you're not going to put anything up now. Like, yun yung sa akin. The important thing is to have something up. Like, when you look at the website, it's not helpful for you. It's not a productive thing for you. So, put what you have, and then adjust when you can. Diba?
Okay.
Do what you can do what you have right now.
Tama, maximize, 'di ba? Very productivity ang ating session ngayon. At ito next question, I think Dar and Alessa and Mikko can answer this. Sabi ni Lorabel Joyce Fabilla on the chart, is this the idea behind why the list journal is in the form of a quadrant? Loving this matrix, I think I'll be able to apply this in my future tasks. What do you think? O nga naman kasi nakaganon di ba? Yung mga crazy about paper tsaka yung mga journal notebooks natin.
Yeah, I think it's a system that I mean, you can write it down on a blank journal also, di ba? So I think it's the system that she's referring to na naka-quadrant nga, anything. I mean, you could fold a piece of paper in 4 tapos, di ba? Yun na yun.
Yes, Mikko, ikaw? What do you think?
For me, any quadrant, and it doesn't have to be this do, defer, delegate, delete thing. For anything, it's very nice to make categories. Just because it's you trying to sort what's just in here. Parang you're able to define whatever thoughts you have. Yun lang. For anything to, it's very helpful.
Tama. Oo nga, no, Mikko, kasi kapag hindi mo sinusulat, nandiyan lang siya looming over your head. Di ba? Tsaka pag gigising ka, o tsaka bago ka matulog, it's just there. Pero when you write things down, mas na-organize siya, mas hahati siya into piecemeal na mas nagiging doable for all of you. At ito naman, at sabi mismo ni Miss Dar, yun daw po ang reason bakit daw siya naka-quadrant.
Okay.
Exactly. Oh, thank you, Miss Dar, for appreciating this. From one productive person to another. here. Di ba? If it works for Dar, it works for everyone. Okay, ito naman ay, can you please answer Mikko first and then Alessa? Sabi ni Karen Giselle Malitaw, ayan. Hi, what are your tips on how to overcome imposter syndrome? Oo nga naman. When someone's just starting out as a creative, very good question. And I think Miss Karen is speaking in behalf of all the people who are just starting here. Your thoughts, Mikko?
Sige, I just started, so I mentioned earlier I'm a handwritten font designer. I don't even call myself like a font foundry. Parang I had this imposter syndrome when it came to that. Kasi hindi ko naman siya inaral, ganyan. What I did was I just believed that I have my own take on whatever it is that I do creatively. I might not do it the academic way or the way that most people do, but I know what I know, diba? So you just have to accept na you are imposter in a sense na you're not like, and I hate using this term, you're not like your idols, but you have to start convincing yourself that they are not your idols. They're idols. They are your colleagues, right? They are your equals. So parang you learn from them, they will learn from you. And once you get there, then you start believing in yourself. Mawawala na yung parang, paano, how to be you? Like, no. Like, you are that how to be you person to someone else, right? Yun, parang, in a way, fake it till you make it. In a way.
Tama. At saka, I don't know nga who said this exactly, pero sabi niya parang, it took me my whole life to become who I am. To write things like I do. And to write music like I do. Di ba? Parang it takes a lot of time to be yourself. Di ba? Or yung para lumabas yung sarili mong flavor. So tama, napakagandang realization yun, no? Yung mga idols, they don't stay that way. In a way, they are your peers. They are your fellow, o di ba? Oo nga naman, o. Oh, sa mga idol ko dyan, Maroon 5. Ano na tayo? Ganito lang tayo, Ryan Seacrest, Wala akong pakialam. Ano tayo? Peers tayo. Hindi, tama nga naman, di ba? It's something to pine for. Tama. Thank you very much, Mikko. And ikaw naman, Alessa, what are your thoughts on the imposter syndrome?
I think journaling helps a lot with this. Kasi, it helps, and when I say journal, for me, kasi it's more of listing. That's how I journal. I list things. So, finding out what just looking into your own skill set, looking at the things that you're good at regularly and constantly, I think can help battle that. Kasi it's a normal feeling. All of us will experience that or feel that at some point, especially pag nasabak ka sa isang new thing, 'di ba? But 'di ba? Parang nandun yung balance na, should I try it? Parang, is it worth a shot? But it might be worth a shot. And then you get that imposter syndrome na parang, bakit ako yung nandyan, di ba? Parang, do I deserve to be here? I think that's the question. Do I deserve this? The journaling part helps na, ano ba yung meron ako? And, it helps because you're counting your blessings, you're counting what you need to be grateful for, what you need to acknowledge in your life, and you're owning it na parang, okay, ito mismo sa listahan na to, alam ko na this moment in time, this spot, this place is where I deserve to be, or where I am rightly where I need to be right now. Parang ganon.
Yun, no? Ang ganda na. At saka, ito may learning from Miss Maren Di Makulangan sa Strillo. Sabi ni Miss Mikko kanina, fake it until you make it, kumbaga. Ang sabi naman ni Maren, I would rather use the faith it until you make it. Di ba? Believe in yourself. Di ba? Kailangan may faith ka and then eventually you will actually believe it. Ayan, oh. I love it. Ito pong next question ay galing kay Sarah June Agbisit. Ito. We all know that we feel at our highest peak of being overwhelmed and bombarded with a lot of your tasks. What do you do in order to bring you back on track? Oo nga naman. So let me rephrase. May mga times daw na na-overwhelm tayo. So ano daw yung ginagawa nyo to bring you back on track? Alessa, let's start with you.
I start a new list. Like Mikko, I have a list also of all the things that I need to do to bring me back on track. rewrite that whole list. Kasi minsan may mga nasisingit dyan na tasks na, yun, again, yung mga hindi kailangan, yung hindi importante, or yung pwedeng i-delay, like yung mga teachings din yun ni Mikko kanina, na it keeps me from doing the tasks that I need to focus on. Another thing that I do is I lock in with music. Like, I have a playlist that keeps me productive. And sometimes nga parang I realize na parang pag hindi ako nakakagawa ng work tasks na as fast as I would like, parang I realize, I didn't play my work playlist. So parang I figured out that system, I guess, na from the tip of Mikko, na parang I figured out my system, what works for me, na para mas mabilis yung tasks. There was one time nga, I played a song on repeat hanggang matapos ko yung task na kailangan kong tapusin. Yung parang, tayo ko na ang song. Parang pinapunish mo yung sarili mo. Hindi naman. Pero, I mean, it was a nice song. Pero, yun nga, I played it on repeat para matapos ko talaga yung isang task na ang tagal-tagal kong hindi matapos. Yan.
Very good, napakaganda, because we are learning from the best practices from one of the best people in the industry na nakaka-relate tayo, di ba? Thank you, Alessa, for that. Ikaw naman, ano yung best practice mo, Mikko, when you are overwhelmed by tasks? Mikko?
For me, two-parter siya. So first, I look at the list nga. Parang, what can I delete? Do away with, eliminate yung parang, alam mo, usually put on our list, ano na ko itong gawin, pero actually, kung gusto ko siyang gawin, yung mga siya. I mean, all of us have that thing on our list na, ideally, we want to accomplish this task or goal. You know, like kunyari, workout, diba? Tapos hindi naman tayo nag-workout or whatever. We have personal tasks, right? Ang galing na. Kasi for me, like, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure. Ito yung task from your list that you know you'll never do. Diba? So that's one. So first, remove those aspirational tasks that you have or goals that you have. That's the first.
Correct.
Second, if I feel I'm accomplishing anything, the easiest task first. So at least I can tell myself, kaya mo naman pala eh. You just need to get yourself started. So sometimes, para siyang warm up, you do the things na parang madali lang. If it takes you 1 minute or less to finish a task, gawin mo na siya. Diba? Yes, we tend to do the bigger projects first.
Tama.
Pero parang for me, the 1 minute, it makes you feel like, yes, okay, I can do this. Yes, okay, I can do this. So then you kind of hype yourself up. So first, you remove what sets you up for failure and then you hype yourself up. So two-parter siya.
Ang ganda. Di ba? Kung tatanggalin mo talaga yung mga nega, tapos yung isa naman yung pampa-uplifted. Di ba? Ang ganda, no? At saka tama, just to warm you up, just to get you started, simulan mo muna yung mga madadali para, alam mo, mainit ka. Di ba? Yun, yes, kaya nga din sa basketball, yung tira ka muna ng tira hanggang sa ma-shoot mo. Pag na-shoot mo yan, tuloy-tuloy na yan. Di ba? Ganda nun, ha?
Yung sinasabi ko kanina na mindless tasks, typically yung unahin mo, yung you can do even if you're half awake. Kasi,
tama.
You know, at least tapos na siya. Di ba? Warm you up.
Okay yun, ha? Very counterintuitive yun do sa Eisenhower Matrix. Pero tama, di ba? Urgent naman siya, pero hindi as important. Pero sige, tirahin mo na agad yan just to warm you up. Very good. Itong next question is from 2-bit. 2-bit Flancia. Was there a time you faced creative block? At kung magkaroon ka ng creative block, ano yung usual na ginagawa mo? Can I ask you first, Mikko?
Creative block. Alam mo, yes, you know, artists and designers and creatives typically say na parang, I'm just not in the mood. You have to, you know, if it's work, walang mood. you cannot. So you just have to start. For me, you start something. It might not be exactly what you're gonna end up with, but you have to start something. So when I was in college, the tip, I took journalism for college. The tip that my professor told me was to cough it up. Meaning, even if you write lang, it's not going to be what ends up in the newspaper or whatever. But your first 2 paragraphs will help you just let it out. So parang lang ilabas mo lang siya to, again, another warm-up method, di ba?
Okay yun, ha? O, di ba? Kumbaga, just cough it up, di ba? Basta't meron kang output, sige, simulan natin yan. O, di ba? It may not be the best, pero at least, nagawa mo. Ganda nun, ha? Okay, thank you. And ikaw, ano yung best practice mo, Alessa?
Ang ginagawa ko pag may creative block, well, actually, my approach to any project is talagang design approach talaga. You treat it like a project brief. What is the problem and what needs to be solved? You just reframe the question, di ba? Sometimes kasi parang nakaka-overwhelm na you have to do and pitch and create or kung ano man, any design task, illustrate, ganyan. So, I start with asking the questions. What needs to be done? What is it for? Who are we talking to? So, parang treat it like a design project. May brief. So, you break down the task into smaller questions. And then, the same way na, kunwari, when I feel na hindi ako nagpo-progress with the project, like what I said kanina, di ba? I rewrite the list. Aside from eliminating the things that are not needed, what I do is I break down the tasks. For example, project A. Minsan nakasulat lang sa list ko, do work for project A. Tapos nakikita ko, hindi gumagalaw si project A. So, ang ginagawa ko, I rewrite the tasks and say, to the point na email, ganyan. As in talagang micro tasks. I break down the big task into micro tasks. Kasi sometimes, lalo na pag marami kang ginagawa, your list is your boss eh. Yan yung boss mo. Yan yung susundin ng katawan mo, ng utak mo. Diba? That's what will tell you what you are going to do today to be productive. Diba? Para, yan ang, lalo na for a lot of freelancers, yan lang yung sinusundan natin eh. Diba? So, what we put on that list is important because it's talking to us. So, I break down the big tasks into smaller micro tasks, even for all creative projects. Even when it comes to designing something on the computer, minsan tagal-tagal mo naka-stare sa computer, I go offline, draw, do a thumbnail sketch first, and then go to the computer and execute. So, parang mas efficient yung ideation part. I mean, mas efficient time-wise yung ideation sa execution.
At saka, in effect, kapag ginawa mo, bumabalik tayo doon sa sinabi ni Mikko na just cough it up. Di ba? Kapag bin-breakdown mo in very, very small pieces. Kuwari, di ba, kunwari nga, magsusulat ka ng libro at talagang hindi mo ma-force yung sarili mo. Pwedeng ang gawin mong microtask, open computer. Di ba? Write down the first sentence. Yun, di ba? And of course, from then on, you will get the hang of it. Thank you. And this is the last question. And napansin nyo po ba? 3 hours na pala tayo nag-uusap, no? So thank you for staying on. And ito po ay galing kay Jessica Luciano. How to lessen po the perfectionist in me in order to be efficient at work? Kasi tama nga naman, di ba? Yung tipong habang ginagawa mo in progress, ay hindi masyado maganda, pangit. Di ba? Okay naman. Hindi to kasing ganda nung dati kong ginawa, wag na natin ituloy. So, what are your thoughts, Mikko? Paano daw malilesson or ano ba ang paraan para maski perfectionist ka ay matapos mo pa rin daw yung trabaho mo efficiently sa work?
For me, and anyone who owns my no filter deck or follows mixed fonts will see quotes like this all the time. I'm not a perfectionist, but I work with a lot of perfectionists. So here are the things that I have to say. Number 1, ikaw lang may alam kung ano yung perfect, right? Ikaw yung nag-set ng standard niya. No one else did. It's all in here. So it's really a change in perspective. What may actually be like 75% acceptable to you is over and beyond na for your client. So in order to be efficient, there's a difference between perfect and good enough. And sometimes for work, good enough might be okay or perfect for them already. Diba? So parang it's really just setting standards that is, iba yung standards for you and standards for work eh. You can't wait for perfect. It's never gonna come. You will always find something wrong with your own work. Yun.
Aba, Jessica ha, at sa lahat ng mga nanonood dito, makinig kayo kay Mikko ha. Sige, tama, okay naman daw maging perfectionist.
Makinig tayo lahat kay Mikko kasi sakit ko rin yan.
Dami nga tinamaan eh, biglang nag-out biglang in-exit yung video.
Okay, ito yung sakit ng mga perfectionist eh.
Yeah.
Ako nagagawa. Ganon, 'di ba? Yeah, ganon. Dar, 'di ba? Parang ako nagagawa niyan. para sure ka na maganda yung gawa, 'di ba?
Tama.
Yun yung
Yes,
sakit ng
yes, yes.
perfectionist, 'di ba?
Tama,
You take
tama.
on so many small unnecessary tasks na pwede mong i-delegate. Actually, I think that is something that I am also learning right now, the delegation part, and it has been working really well for me, na parang ang sarap pala na, I can do the things that I meant to do and not the things na, the small things, the little things. So parang I see it like, parang nag-grocery shopping. Okay, pupulutin ko yan, pero mamaya, okay, baka ibalik ko kasi baka hindi ko talaga kailangan. Parang gano'n. I guess it's that same way of thinking. It takes a lot of practice because, yun nga, sorry, hindi ko ba nasagot yung tanong, pero yun nga, you just need to practice it, I think, for the perfectionist.
I have something to add lang. So, I guess one thing you can train to do is pretend mo na work yan ng anak mo. So, sabihin mo ba ever na, this is not good enough, di ba? You would never do that to your own child, right? You would say, ang ganda. Baka pwede, di ba? Like, you always tend to see what works.
Okay.
Di ba? Hindi, lalo na for something as subject, perfection is subjective. It really is. We think it's an objective standard, but it's very subjective. Yun lang yung sa akin.
Thank you, Ms. Mikko. And before you formally answer, Alessa, nakakatawa, nagwawala na po ang ating comment section. Sabi ni Ms. Odette Oliveros, masakit, pero kailangan harapin. Oo nga naman. Nakakatawa, sabi ni Aiza Garnica Santos, ang sakit-sakit na nga eh. Tapos, sabi naman ni...
what Mikko said?
Which one?
Alin doon, sandali. Tapos sabi ni Sarah June Agbisit, we have our own meaning of perfection pala. O, tama. Sabi naman ni Sheila Galan, guys, ilag tayo. Sabi ni Bianca Domdom, ganun din ako, nakakaiyak. Sabi ni Odette Oliveros, aras! Di ba, araso. Sabi ni Rioni Desuyo Calleja, tagos. Di ba, sabi ni Sheila Galan, grabe, Miss Mikko. Sabi ni Aiza Garnica Santos, ang galing na sagot ni Miss Mikko, thank you. Sabi ni Rioni Desuyo Calleja, hit! Tinamaan talaga. So, thank you very much. And again, sa mga nakamiss po, unfortunately, pwede nyo na lang pong hanapin ulit sa replay. At yun po ang good news. At hindi na po natin papaulit. Ngayon naman, O, sige, Alessa, your answer. Or yes, or message. Oo, just sa pagiging perfectionist pa rin.
Perfectionist. I think you have to understand what your role is in the whole project. Like, gaano ka ba ka-importante, or and to put things in perspective na baka hindi naman siya necessary. I mean, I guess in terms of the bigger picture, aside from your own tasks also. And how much does it mean to you? Kumbaga, parang ano yung mga pwede mo nang i-let go na talagang it will just hold you back from doing the things that you want to do and the other things that you need to do. Parang you have to take a step back, I think, for perfectionists.
And for all those who missed yung sinabi po ni Ms. Mikko, ito po, it's pretty much sums up kung ano po yung sinabi niya kanina through the comment section. Sabi ni Sarah June Agbisit, be friends with yourself. Do not be too harsh. Yan lang. Sabi ni Aiza Garnica Santos, ikaw lang ang nakakaalam kung ano yung perfect. You set the standard. So in short, ikaw o tayo lang yan, ikaw lang yan. O, diba? Sabi naman ni Rioni Desuyo Calleja, dapat nga naman i-appreciate natin ang sarili natin. Sabi ni Hoseki Prinsesa, perfection is subjective. O yun, no? So yun po thank you at least nakikita natin, naiintindihan talaga tayo. And before we leave and say goodbye to this and close this design weekend, Dar, is there anything that you want to add?
Hi. So, thank you guys for staying with us, and I'm very happy to be able to do this with everyone, with our panelists here, and I hope everyone's who's watching us today learned a lot. And thank you, DTI and Design Week, for being able to partner with us. And of course, let's acknowledge our creative director, Alessa, who put everyone together. So thank you. And our handsome host, PJ, talaga host ng bayan.
Thank you. And now, I would like to take this opportunity. Jen, can you please invite everyone to check out your works? Unmute first. Thank you. Okay,
Hi
go.
everyone. Good afternoon again. You can check my Instagram account, which is at Design by Detail, or at Jintan. So
Yeah.
either of the two. But my interior design is Design by Detail. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Jen, and more blessings to you. Miko, invite everyone to check out your socials and your works
You
and
can
website.
follow me on Instagram, Mikomix, so Mikkomix. If you want my straight na masakit sa puso na mga quotes, you can follow Mix Fonts. Because really, that's the tone of my feed. My font feed is just a bunch of straight to the point, no filter, masakit quotes. So you can follow that as well. Yes.
Ano mo rin, i-promote mo rin yung mga baraha mo. Ako po, I follow this work by Miko. Ito mga patama pero one word lang eh. Alam mo yun? Ang lakas ng impact ng mga yun. Can you please tell them that?
So I also sell oracle decks. So anyone who is into cartomancy or tarot cards, they have two oracle decks. They're both Tagalog words. So follow mga baraha on Instagram. Yes.
Ayan. So mga baraha, I'll write it down sa comment section. Mga baraha. Yan. Okay, thank you. And Alessa, can you please direct them to your socials or website or to any of your future works?
You can follow me at Life After Breakfast PH on Instagram and Facebook. Yun lang.
Okay. Thank you, Alessa. And Dar, anything that you want to announce or to promote again?
We
Just follow us at crazyaboutpaper.com, and we hope to be able to see you more in future events. Thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. So, palakpakan po natin ulit. Jin Panlilio, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks, Dor.
Of course.
Yes.
Mikko Sumulong.
Thank you.
Alessa Lanot.
thank you all for being with us today.
Yes.
And of course, Darlyn Ty-Nilo. Thank you. And this has been your host. Ako po si PJ. So please follow me on Instagram at PJ Lanot and sa Facebook naman po at PJ Lanot page. So again, maraming salamat po sa Design Center of the Philippines for having this for free. And sa lahat po ng mga nakamiss ng live episodes, we are on replay, on perpetual replay. Just as long as Facebook is alive, then this video is alive. So sa inyo pong lahat, happy weekend. God bless po. And for any announcements and for any news, please follow this page. Thank you po. God bless and happy weekend.